They said I was a footnote, background noise, a misfit, unimportant, too loud. Funny how that turned to kismet. Me and my truth, we sit real still, no sirens, let them scream in the daylight. Truth don't need alignment. I didn't want the headline, I saw the pattern. Opening my mouth made the whole room shatter. Try to keep it measured, flashing warning signs. Every time I spoke the truth, they called it crossing lines. I stayed out of the spotlight, studied every thread. Watched the story bend while they counted what I said. Never chased the platform, never begged the crowd. I was mapping all the quiet while they weaponized the loud. Not a drunk, but you can call me Boozey. There's a lot more here than simple beauty. It's my time, I'm showing you the real me. Formally introducing Boozey Beauty. Boozey Beauty. Boozey Beauty. Boozey Beauty. Daily in the gym, yeah, I build this body, but don't confuse the muscle with the mind inside me. Got the ladies watching when I teach that beauty, but the real flex is know exactly who I'm proving. Is deeper than looks, deeper than likes. I'm sharpening language, intellect precise. Full play, firm lines, boundaries set. I light my soul up, I don't need their respect. While they were boxing marks, marching bold lies. I was face down, boxed in, hit from all sides. If they look beneath the noise, they see I never wanted fame, just wanted pat them seen. Not a drunk, but you can call me Boozey. There's a lot more here than simple beauty. It's my time, I'm showing you the real me. Formally introducing Boozey Beauty. Boozey Beauty. Boozey Beauty. Boozey Beauty. Snakes in the grass slithering in my phone. I walked out clean when the silence hit home. Diamond in the rough, no filter, no scene. Funny how the dirtiest hands claim pristine. Not a drunk, but you can call me Boozey. There's a lot more here than simple beauty. It's my time, I'm showing you the real me. Formally introducing Boozey Beauty. Boozey Beauty. Boozey Beauty. Boozey Beauty. You can call me Boozey. Raising back on rising beauty. I've been here, now you finally see. Say it right, Boozey Beauty. Boozey Beauty. Boozey Beauty. Boozey Beauty. Boozey Beauty.
Well, hello everyone. I hope you all are having a good evening if you are joining me live. If not, hello to all of my replay crew. I love you guys so much. If you don't know me, hello. I go by the username Boozey Beauty, and I think if you're not new here anymore, I hope you're not new here, but if you are, I go by the username Boozey Beauty, and guess what? I'm a Norfolk County resident. Norfolk County that is infamous for what, chat? Oh, chat. The two Karen Reed trials where she was acquitted, aka found not guilty, of all of the crazy, insane charges that were against the one and only Karen Reed. She did not murder her Boston police officer boyfriend, John O'Keefe. Obviously, that also includes in the county the murder investigation of John O'Keefe. And you also may know, too, the unaliving of Sandra Birchmore, that Norfolk County is still to this day saying that she self-unalived herself, even though federal investigators have said now arrested, and we will soon be seeing a federal huge trial against a former Stoughton, another Norfolk County town, just like Canton, where we're going to be seeing this huge trial against an officer. And it shouldn't be the only officer, by the way, chat, but you all know that by now. So we have been going down a little bit of a rabbit hole here in the BB studios. And when I say we, I mean me, because it's only me. It's only me and my dogs. And I wasn't expecting to go live tonight, but you know what? I was actually on here and I was doing my research about Judge Beverly Cannone and this website that I actually came across the other day, this past weekend. And I happened to pop it back up. I had it saved on my bookmarks. And I just said, you know what? Let me bring you guys with me on this journey as we go through some of the background of Judge Cannone and, in particular, her connections and the person that helped get her promoted, Special Prosecutor Robert Cosgrove. Who's Robert Cosgrove? Well, currently he is the special prosecutor on Aidan Kearney's charges, the witness intimidation charges. That includes people like Jen McCabe, Colin Albert, et cetera, et cetera. But also, Special Prosecutor Robert Cosgrove is also assigned to the Karen Reed cell phone saga because, believe it or not, if you don't know this, Norfolk County still has Karen Reed's cell phones, even after being found not guilty, and even after a separate case where they were trying to get witness intimidation charges against Karen, that grand jury didn't bring charges against her. So they are quite literally holding on to Karen Reed's cell phones for no reason. And this man, Robert Cosgrove, is one of the reasons why Judge Cannone has the job that she does now. You sure you can back that up, Boozey? Oh, sure, I have audio. But don't worry, we'll get into it. Before we get into all of this, we got unfortunate news. It's been a couple of weeks of some bad news with some the women's health of it all, and I am so sorry to hear that Dolly Parton has since passed away, which frankly makes me so sad. I was actually out to lunch with some friends when this news hit, and I was like, "No way!" And then we kind of just, went on with our conversation. And then when I got home and I went on Twitter, and I was like, "Oh, this is real. This is real." Um, I think this Lindsay Clancy case, that's also a Massachusetts case, except it's in a different county. It's in Plymouth County, which, by the way, is right next to Norfolk County. If I always like to say, if a storm hits Norfolk, it's gonna hit Plymouth County. And the Lindsay Clancy case and the news of Hayden Panettiere's death last week, and now we got Dolly Parton. It just seems like it seems like all of the things are happening to women currently. And I just want to give a cute little reminder of who Dolly Parton was, because hello, we have 2 classic songs because of her. How could we not love Jolene and Working 9 to 5? And the thing that I always loved about Dolly Parton is she was such an outspoken force for women's rights and women's health. So, and one person she was constantly defending was a woman by the name of Britney Spears. So I just want to do a quick little clip as we have more of you live popping in. I know you guys are still filtering in right now. Hopefully YouTube is sending you notifications. If not, make sure you are subscribed to the channel. And also make sure that you have set all notifications on. That should help you guys get better updates and notifications when it comes to YouTube. Again, should. Should is the key word. So I'm going to pop up this video for us, and then we'll get into all of the rest of this stuff. So here is one of the reasons why I love Ms. Dolly Parton. One of the many reasons why.
But it's just like all the stuff that happens, like with Britney Spears, and with when they get controversy about all that, you have to kind of stand up for yourself. You're allowed to be you. And if it's you that's making the money, and it's you that's, that the one that they're putting out there like a product or something, we're not products, we're people. We agree to a degree. You are a product to a certain degree, but you know that, but that's just called your brand, that sort of thing. Just like me selling cakes, and like as enough years go by, your name and your reputation, people know if you're selling something, it's going to be a good product, and you want to be able to do a lot of things, and because there's a lot of money in that you can donate to charity or help your family with. And so I do a lot of things like that, but I don't, I really get rubbed wrong sometimes when people mistreat the artist. I don't like that.
I love her. I love her so much. And what a sad day for music, you know. And she was such a force to be reckoned with in everything that she did for a lot of people and a lot of charities. So she's going to be dearly missed. Okay, friends. So, like I said, I went down a rabbit hole when it came to the Cannone of it all. So before I get into it, as I always do, I want to say hello to my chat and say thank you to some folks. And I really like starting off or ending something, you know, with something positive. And you know, I always said, I don't know what's going on in the world of the YouTube of it all, but please just remember, you know, we're just normal human beings here behind the screen. Please give all of us some grace and just know, even though we've got a camera in front of us, it doesn't mean that we're also not human. We also don't mess up at times. You know, I think some people tend to forget that when they're behind a computer or their screen and they say things that they normally wouldn't say in person to someone's face. Not me though. Not me though. So anyways, I love you guys, truly. Thank you for being here and being kind and patient for me in between all of the craziness that has been this channel. Okay, chat. So let me say thank you to some of you guys. I want to say hello to my chat. Again, replay crew, feel free to fast forward a little bit if you would like. I want to say hi to some friends, Okay, who do we have here? All right, let me pull you guys up. Oh, Factual Lie. Hello. Hello, Nanny Shazer. Hello. Oh my God, you changed the profile picture. Oh, you got sunglasses on the dog this time. That is so cute. Here I go with the dogs already. Hello, all. RIP to Dolly. Yes, Tara Reina. Yes, yes. Music to my soul. Hello, hello. Hello, Jen Fox. An icon. Dolly will be missed. I know. I love her so much. Hi, Rick. thumbs up. Jay Callahan perfectly said Boozey. Thank you so much. Mimi, good afternoon. Oh my God, your dog's picture is hysterical too. Dennis, I don't know what the hell are the jewels. I have no idea. Maybe someone else can help you in the chat because I like I told you, I am clueless. I think YouTube's trying to be TikTok. I think that's what's happening right now. Diane Gallagher, hello. A great way to honor Dolly. Yes, is to make a donation to her imagination library. Yes, and one of her last videos, if not her last video, was saying thank you to lo and behold Taylor Swift, but to Taylor Swift and to Travis Kelce, because instead of for their huge wedding that I'm sure you guys know by now, they got married at Madison Square Garden. Instead of accepting gifts, they did a ton of donations to all their favorite charities, and one of them was Dolly's, and they donated $2 million. So it's sad, but you know, what an icon for one icon to be saying thank you to another icon, like the world, right? It always goes round and round and round. Justice for OJ. Oh, I'm glad they got her truck stop open before this happened. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Boozey. Oh my God, anxiety. Thank you. Yes, Mrs. Tom Selleck. Yes, Dolly also wrote Whitney's song, I Will Always Love You. And Dolly's rendition is so cute, especially when she went on stage with her goddaughter. Words are hard. Her goddaughter, Miley Cyrus. I mean, you want to talk about pop on pop. Taylor, Dolly, Miley. You know me, I love the girls. I love the girls. Love the girls. Okay. Now, let me see. Let me say hi to some friends because I need to say hi. Thank you. Josephine227. It always goes back to 227 or 222. Every single time. Thank you for becoming a member. Thank you for being here. Enjoy all the members emojis. And again, like I said last live stream, we will be having a members only soon as I can get more of the stuff behind the scenes set up for us. But welcome, Josephine. Lisa, thank you for the floating heart. And thank you, Ramblin' Roan, for the happy poop. The Goodmans, a member for 2 months. Oh my God, are we already on 2 months for some of you guys? Oh my God, time flies when you're having fun. Thank you so much for being here, Goodmans. Hi, Boozey. Hello, hello. EJ's, hi, friends. Sending a floating heart. I love you so much. Legal Swag, thank you so much for coming a member. Thank you for being here. It's you as well. Enjoy the member emojis, and I hope you can join the members live whenever I get to be able to do that. Soon, though. Soon. Exhibit A, thank you so much. I added your video to my outro, and I can't wait for people to see it. If you guys didn't see Exhibit Alley's, the cute little like Lego pixelated videos, they're so good. And she was very kind enough to make one for me. So I popped it in as my outro video. So make sure you stick to the end to see that because it is so freaking cute. And Allie is so talented. It's so cute. Witter Bird, thank you so much. Big up, Boozey Beauty. Let's go. LFG. LFG, let's fucking go. Jen Fox, thank you so much for the flower. And thank you so much, Pithy, screen name, for the treat. All right, friends. Okay, so let me pull up this random website that I literally came across of. And it very much reminds me of Emily C's FOIA and Find Out website, where it's just like literally just a random resident, a random human putting together stuff that is all over the place and all over Twitter or all over all these public records requests. And Emily was kind enough to throw everything into one Google website. Well, it turns out someone did that for all of the judges in Massachusetts. I haven't seen anyone bring this up before. So let me share my screen so you guys can see it. And now I know how to zoom in for us, which means we can even make it bigger. Look at me. We are really coming up, guys. Moving on up to the east side, to the east side, to a deluxe apartment in the sky. I grew up with Nick at Night, okay? I love all those shows. All right. So, this website right here, which by the way, I do have linked in my description box of this video. So, if you want to watch along or even click around as you're listening, feel free to do so. So again, like I said, I was just doing some random research and this happened to pop up, which then led me down so many more rabbit holes. Like if you go on this, you're gonna be like, oh yeah, there's a lot here. There's a lot here. So this is it's labeled Patrick McCabe's Governor's Council, and it says openness, transparency, and accountability. I Googled who Patrick McCabe is, and he at one point did run for governor's council. But for like just information, like he just seems like a normal citizen. Not connected anyway. I don't believe he's like a McCabe. I know someone's going to ask that. And then again, though, I didn't go like too deep into who this individual is because I think it's incredible all of the work that they have put on here. It's a lot. There's a lot on here, guys. Really just like a wealth of information on this website. But the reason why I ended up here is because of the Norfolk County election, the district attorney election that's coming up, which, by the way, early voting has started. So please make sure you get your votes in, please, if you haven't done so already. But yeah, and Robert Jubinville, who is running for district attorney, one of the things that he always speaks about is that he was on the governor's council for 10 years. And that really had my brain clicking, like really clicking the other day because I was like, oh, you were on the governor's council, which means you helped judges or not, depending on how you voted in the governor's council. What they do is they essentially elect judges. They have this judge or this future potential judge or a judge that wants a promotion sits in front of these guys and they basically plead their case. They have people that speak for them, and it's basically a very formal interview with other judges. which is crazy to think about. That's how it works in Massachusetts. So this website has everything on it. Now, something I did find interesting. Do I have Jubinville's up yet? Let me go to my other screens for a sec. Nope, that's Beverly Cannone. If we go up to the top of the screen, you guys can see right up here, it says JNC, and then it has all of the meetings from, oh God, this year until 2000, and then there's from 2012 through this year, 2026. We have the Supreme Justices, the Appeals Court Justices, Superior Court Justices, District Court Justices, and then also BMC, Probate, Juvenile, Housing, and more. It has everything, even like down to the parole board, guys. It literally has everything on here. So this is like, you really want to go down rabbit hole? This is the website to do when it comes to the judges of Massachusetts. So that's why I ended up here, because I was looking at Jubinville. Now, he's not going to be something I'm really focusing on today, but what I did find interesting is that Jubinville was on the governor's council when not only Judge Mark C. Gildea was appointed, but also Judge Beverly Cannone. Yeah. Which, I don't hold that too much against him, because how are you supposed to judge how a judge is going to be when they become either a district or superior or even more supreme judge? You don't really know how they're going to handle each case. You're never going to know. But I do find it's interesting that he never spoke about that. He almost kind of bypassed it. And I find that even more interesting because he is so gung-ho that Karen Reed didn't do this. She was wrongfully, arrested, and he never should have been indicted, and all of the things. He has said all these things in particular about Karen Reed, but then on the flip side, he helped Judge Cannone get where she was by being on the governor's council and voting for her. You see what I mean? You see where I'm kind of going with that? But also, too, he has a daughter who, by the way, I'm not saying anything else negative about her, but the fact that his daughter, Sarah Jubinville, is a judge, and Sarah dad's Bob Jubinville, who's now running for district attorney, was on the governor's council when she was appointed. And no, he did not recuse himself. No, he did not. He did not. So that makes me not comfortable, because you're talking about corruption and people doing favors for other people. And it's not that Sarah Jubinville didn't have the resume and the experience. She definitely did, because obviously I looked into it. She definitely did, definitely does. But again, you can't be talking about cops and who they know and how, I want all these cops who are going to be checking their cell phones every month because they shouldn't be connected to anyone. But then your own daughter, who then you helped get appointed and then elected because she's your daughter and you sat on that council. You see what I mean? It's just icky all around. I don't like it. I don't like this shit. It seems like there's no integrity wherever we go. Truly. And honestly, it doesn't matter where you fall on the side of the coin. It's all of them. It's all of them, guys. There are Democrats and Republican on these lists, okay? It's all of them. So let me bring up Judge Cannone's, because, oh boy. So Judge Cannone, when this information popped up, here she is. Here's our gal. Here's the woman of the hour. So, this paperwork, this current sheet that I'm going to show you, is from when she was already a district judge and she was going for the promotion of superior judge. Obviously, that's where she is now. She's in the superior courts. So, obviously, you can tell this is a little bit of a of an older photo of Judge Cannone. But, you know, even 12 years later, it doesn't seem like she has aged all that much. Alrighty. Let me get rid of that for a sec. Okay. So you can see it says Beverly J. Cannone was nominated as an associate judge of the Superior Court. Can I make this even a little bit bigger for you guys? I probably can. Let's make that better for us. How's that? I can do a little bit more. Okay. So, obviously you need to have some nominations. So she was nominated by the Honorable Thomas Murtaugh. I don't know. February 11th, 2014. And look what we have. Her resume and her governor's council questionnaire. So this, I don't know if any of you have ever had any other streamer go into this. I personally have never seen anyone else cover this. I haven't. So if someone else already has, I apologize. I personally have never seen anyone pull up Cannone's resume. So let me share this with you guys. This is fucking crazy. We're really getting into the weeds, guys. We're really doing it. So you can see this was when Deval Patrick was governor, April 15th, 2014. And it says, Dear counselors, I am pleased to nominate Beverly J. Cannone to the position of Associate Judge of the Superior Court. I submit this nomination for the advice and consent of the Executive Council pursuant to Part 2, Chapter 2 of the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. I am closing the nominee's resume for your convenience. And that's the judge that nominated her. So as you can see, so this was current as of when she was 2014. Yeah. Experience, Associate Judge of the Quincy District Court, 2009 through 2014. You can see she was presiding over a wide range of criminal, civil, housing, mental health, and abuse prevention matters, including motions, hearings, and trials. One of 5 judges who preside over civil commitment hearings at Bridgewater State Hospital, and member of the District Court Education Committee and the Mental Health Committee. We know before that she was a public defender, so that's what this is. Committee for Public Counsel Services, 1985 through 2009. You can see that she was a staff attorney. She worked in Middlesex, Plymouth, and Norfolk counties, which is going to be important later on, as well as the district courts of Middlesex and Norfolk County. And then obviously you can see she was part of the murder team. She then was the supervising attorney of the CPCS Dedham office, and then also the attorney in charge of the public defender's Dedham office. So she was very much up there, like literally like one of the top dogs, if not the top dog for the public defenders in the Dedham office, which again is going to come back because everyone knows everyone here, it seems like. So that is really the more important thing. She has a couple of awards, court-related things, education, and her interests are running, cooking, and reading. So that was that. Let me pop you back, guys, over because I want to read into her Governor Council's questionnaire. Now, this is something that they have to fill out where'd it go? Where'd you guys go? Okay, there you are. Oops, did I exile the whole thing? I did. Oops. Okay. So this is the questionnaire that they have to fill out if they want a shot at the job. So, Judicial Nomination Data Questionnaire. That's a little, okay. So, again, learning more about Judge Cannone that we have never known before. Actually, I can probably make it a little bigger for you guys. Yeah, I like that better for you. All right. So, she didn't have any business interests or investment holdings by 2014. And then it says, please list Any and all law firms you have been associated with during the 5 years preceding your nomination. So that would be from 2014 until 2009-ish, 2008, 2009. So she says that she was a public defender at the, obviously, Defender Public Office from 1989 through my appointment to the Quincy District Court in 2009. I was the attorney in charge of the Norfolk County office for over 3 years. In that capacity, I have worked closely with the following attorneys, many of whom may still practice law in Massachusetts. So these are some names you guys may have seen before or not. I'm not going to try to pronounce them. I'm not doing it. Not doing it. I can pronounce McDonough. I'm not going to butcher anyone else's names. And then it asks for political contributions, which we're going to get into in a second too, because those are also listed on the website I just showed you. So she said she had none. Okay. So here is more of her information. She goes by the name Beverly J. Cannone with Prescott as her maiden name. She worked at that point, Quincy District Court, resides in Norwell. Birthday, July 9th, 1960, Quincy, Massachusetts, U.S. citizen. Her schooling, UMass, Bachelor of Arts in Legal Studies, New England School of Law. And then her previous jobs, I found this interesting. While attending UMass Boston, I worked 15 to 25 hours per week in the personnel office on campus from 1978 through 1982. While attending New England School of Law, I worked as a waitress at Linda May's restaurant on Morrissey Boulevard in Dorchester from 1982 through 1985. So she's a doc girl, she's a Quincy gal, and she's a doc gal. Upon graduation from law school, I was hired by the Committee for Public Counsel Services as a staff attorney in the Cambridge office. In 1989, after the birth of my child, I transferred to the Denham office. From 2006 to 2009, I was the attorney in charge of that office. In 2009, I was appointed as an associate judge for the Quincy District Court. I serve on the District Court Education Committee and on the Committee of Mental Health and Substance Abuse. She's never served in the military. She has various awards. Nothing really is like super standout-ish. Let me see. She served on the Massachusetts Bar Association Criminal Justice Section Council from 2007, 2009, 2008. In 2009, she became a member of the Massachusetts Bar Association's task force. Let's see, what else? She was appointed to the Norfolk County Bar Association Council shortly before her appointment in 2009. She had been a member of the Norfolk County Bench Bar Committee at the invitation of the Regional Administrative Justice of the Norfolk Superior Court from 2003 through 2009. Do you see where I'm going with all of this, friends? Do you see where I'm going with all of this? Very well connected in Norfolk County. Ms. Cannone is. Judge Cannone. She was also an officer of the Norwell Education Foundation from 2009 until 2008. They helped raise money for the public schools and was awarded grants to teachers. She was the president of the board of directors at the new nursery school where her children attended that school many years ago. She taught CCD at St. Helens in Norwell for several years, where her boys were in junior high and high school. And then obviously the Massachusetts Supreme Judicial Court, starting December 1985. She's helped write a book. She was in excellent health in 2014. She never served as a clerk. She never did any kind of practice alone as an attorney. And again, goes into where she worked. Okay. She was court appointed to represent indigent defendants charged with probable cause felonies in the Superior and District Courts of Norfolk County. She was the attorney in charge for her office for over 3 years and supervised 4 lawyers and 3 support staff. She typically carried a caseload of approximately 40 cases, many of which were among the most serious and complex in the county. She also said that she was a member of the CPCS murder team for nearly 20 years, and she was assigned more than a dozen murder cases and tried several before juries in the 10 years preceding her judicial appointment. Now, when we get into the audio of this hearing of when she had to go in front of the governor's council, I want you guys to remember all of this, what people say about her in this upcoming hearing, what she says about herself, and then how things have changed, or at least how things changed for the Karen retrials. Things that make you go, hmm. She stated that her legal specialties were trying sexual assault cases and the insanity defense. As a lawyer, she frequently was invited to lecture at CPCS and MCLE training programs on those subjects. And then she said at this point she was still continuing to serve as a faculty member at MCLE on those subjects. This is where she tries to fluff up her own ego. Ego, not eagle, ego. I appeared in court virtually every day of my career. I was the sole lawyer representing my clients at every stage of the case in the trial courts. I was appointed in the district court to represent indigent defendants charged with probable cause felonies, and I followed the case to the Superior Court. I tried my first case in Superior Court in 1987, less than 2 years after becoming a lawyer. I represented clients in countless arraignments, bail hearings, and motion hearings in the Superior Court. I tried between 50 and 75 jury trials in the Superior Court over the course of my 24 years as a public defender. Some years I tried as many as 10 jury trials in Superior Court. There was never a year that I didn't try at least one jury trial in Superior Court. You see what I mean? She has a lot of experience. And she also knows a lot of people. She's very well connected. She said 100% of her court appearances were in the trial courts of Massachusetts. Again, it goes that she worked in Quincy District Court. So it asks her what are two significant decisions about cases that she was on and to name them. So she said that she attached copies of the decision, and these are cases that she worked on. Commonwealth versus Alana Monteiro in the New Bedford District Court, and then also Commonwealth versus Kevin Miranda in the Fall River District Court. Again, if you're not in Massachusetts, don't worry about that. It's just two other courts in Massachusetts. She says that the first case, Monteiro, sorry if I'm butchering the last name, was a motion to suppress a search based on a search warrant, and Miranda was a motion to suppress a stop of a truck. The Commonwealth filed an, interlocutory appeal of Miranda, which was allowed. The appeals court, in a Rule 128 opinion, stated, for the same thoughtful reasons given by the judge below, we affirm. Essentially, again, fluffing up her own ego. Again, she's never held public office. She was never involved in anywhere else being a lawyer or any other business venture. Have you guys seen this covered anywhere else? I have never seen Cannone's resume ever spoken about anywhere else. Not sure, Colin. Not sure we are ready for Bev Cannone's valid truth journey. Well, I have forced it upon you guys. Okay, like I said, she's all update on her taxes, blah 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 blah. This is where it starts to really piss me off, given everything that we know now. I believe, that's what Judge Cannone says, I believe that judicial discretion needs to be exercised on a case-by-case basis with the ultimate goal to protect public safety. Really? Really? A judge must look at the crime, the individual defendant before her, and the effect of the crime on the victim. In my work, I have seen people at their worst. I have met defendants who have committed unspeakable atrocities, and I have seen victims who have suffered physical and emotional trauma. I understand and fully appreciate the need for swift punishment. I also believe that a defendant must always be treated fairly by the court. I have grave concerns. She goes on. A judge should always consider whether rehab is possible and try to fashion a sentence that balances the need for punishment with the hope of rehab. I believe that a great many of the serious crimes in our communities are the result of drug addiction and mental illness. When these factors are present, they must be considered in sentencing. In my experience, sentencing does not serve as a deterrent of other criminals. I believe that the sentence should be fashioned to reflect the seriousness of the crime, to punish the perpetrator, and to protect society. Okay. Hmm. Hmm. Um, did Karen Reed have any convictions before being indicted for murder of her boyfriend John O'Keefe? Did she have any traffic tickets? No. 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 When she says that she has seen victims suffer physical and emotional trauma. So she understands emotional trauma. So she might be able to understand someone's mindset when they find someone unexpectedly that they care about dead and bleeding in front of them. How that might affect the psyche and what this person might say. Karen Reed wasn't a drug addict. I don't know, guys. I don't know. These are the things that when you read and then you go to especially those two trials. I don't know how you go from this person that you wrote about in order to get your promotion into the pretrial hearings of trial 1. Like, my main example I always go back to is John O'Keefe's clothing and how long Karen's team had to fight to see those items. It's literally against the rules of evidence. Literally. There's a rule that a defendant must see, especially items like clothing, within a certain time frame. Don't quote me. I believe it's 30 days after indictment. It's something very within a reasonable range after the defendant is indicted. It took a year and a half. And I'll never forget Attorney Elizabeth Little being like at the end of her ropes, like kept coming back and kept coming back, kept flying from California, obviously, her and Alan Jackson. And it just got to the point where, like, hello, Lally is saying it's the lab. But then we found out as a public that it wasn't the lab. It was Lally not answering his emails. And Cannone just let that shit go. Oh, Lally. I don't know. I don't know. That's not fair and unbiased. It's not. Maybe once, maybe twice, but Cannone, 6 to 8 months later, should have been like, okay, guys, what the fuck? She didn't. She didn't. And I can't wait to show you the other judges that have been involved with some of these other cases and who they've donated to politically and people that have spoke on their behalf. Because my jaw was just on, excuse my French, I've already swore a couple of times. My jaw was on the fucking floor reading these things. But it's all public information. This question right here. Do you favor further limits on such discretion through legislation? Cannone answered, no. I believe that judges should continue to consider all factors before them in making thoughtful decisions regarding sentencing. She agreed with judges' salaries. She didn't think they shouldn't be getting any more. And there was nothing else that she had to add. That's her affidavit, which was signed on April 21st, 2014. And then I believe, let me see what this is. Here's the other thing. When you're a judge, you obviously have to open up all of your records, including your taxes and stuff, your court records. So that's what this is. She signed that on April 22nd, 2014. So they looked into everything of that. And these are the two cases that she was talking about. I don't really want to get into it because it's just a lot of, if you guys want to look this up on your own, feel free. Again, I have the website linked for you guys. It's very easy to find all of this on that website. So going back to Cannone's page. Okay. So that was her resume as well as her governor's council questionnaire. As you can see, there was no political payments to anyone and no cases that Patrick McCabe put up for this. It would be interesting to see what it is now. I don't know if he updates this or like how often this guy updates this website. So it'd be interesting to see if anything else has come out of her or her husband, because that's important too, because they can, if they don't want the judge to do the actual contribution, say if like Cannone was to give money to Greg Connor, right, for district attorney, they could always put it through as her husband. So you'll see that on other judges too, that they actually do list like their husbands or their partners, because again, you could do double payments if you want to give $500,000 each. You could do that. Okay, I think I have a couple of you guys I need to say. Okay. Thank you, Julie, for the jewels. Thank you so much. Motions and lemonade. Hello, friend. You say, hi, Boozey. I now consider you part of LawTube. You are so good at this. Oh my God. No, don't do that. That is way too much pressure for me. That is way too much pressure. I'm just good at research, and when I've got a thorn, I like to like really like poke it out, right? You gotta keep poking. And who knows who's gonna see this and what other information you all are gonna find from this too, because I know you guys like to poke too. And if you guys are poking around this website on your own and you see something, shoot me an email, send it my way. If it connects to any other case, let me know, because I'm always interested in seeing what else can come from just this stuff that we're finding. We got a lot to go through, friends. Thank you, Cat Lady, for the happy poop. and also the Silver Star. And Dump Dog, thank you so much for the Unk Alert. All right, back to this. So, this was for the hearing of her interview with the Governor's Council. So this was April 30th, 2014. Now, here is who was present for her hearing of the Governor's Council, who was present. Okay, you can see all the districts here. Some of you may recognize these names, some of you may not. It's okay. So as you can see, District 2, there is Robert Jubinville. Robert Jubinville, like I said, is currently running for District Attorney of Norfolk County. Again, that's not something he has ever told us publicly. He's never said it in any of the debate candidate forums, nothing. So weigh that out as you wish, friends. Okay, weigh that out as you wish. So these are all the judges that were present for her promotion. Because remember, she was trying to get promoted from the district court to the superior court, which of course we know she got there, right? And then you can see on the bottom of your screen, those are all the photos of all the judges. And like I said, this website is very thorough. This is my kind of stuff. Oh, really, Emily? Emily, thank you so much for researching that. Emily says, still no Cannone contributions according to OCPF. Beautiful. Beautiful. Which also, too, no Cannone also means her husband as well. So that's good. At least there's that. At least there's that. The other ones, not so much. Oh, I can't wait to show you. All right. Friends. Here comes the bombshell. So much like with any other job, you need references, and usually a good employer will contact those references. Well, former judge, now special prosecutor, Robert Cosgrove, was one of Judge Beverly Cannone's references. And guess what, friends? We have the audio. We have the audio. So, what happens here is essentially they're in this room. It's an old building, and it's like a circular table. So you have all the judges, and then you have the judge that's trying to get the job or the promotion. And then the people that are there to speak on behalf of them are sitting behind them. And then those individuals get called up one by one. And the first person that got pulled up for Cannone is Robert Cosgrove. I can't. I know, chat. I know, chat. I know. You should have seen me. I was on the phone with a friend when I was going through this website when I first saw this, and I went silent for like a good minute, which is rare for me, obviously. And my friend was like, "Are you good?" I'm like, "Yeah, no. Yeah, no. 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 None of us knew this. None of us knew this. So, we're going to go through each of these individuals. I don't think I need to go into who Robert Cosgrove is. If you don't know who Robert Cosgrove is, like I said, he is now a retired judge. Once you hit 70 in Massachusetts, you have to retire. So he is now a special prosecutor. Okay. And like I started the live stream with, he is on the case of Karen Reid's cell phones, as well as the witness intimidation criminal case that's against Aidan Kearney. You can't. This is why I said on my last live stream, when I found this and I was telling you guys I had found this stuff, I don't know if this would be something that like Aidan or his attorneys would even be interested in. Karen, though, I was thinking about this. I don't know if there's a way they might be able to use this, because this is a Cannone and Cosgrove connection. And obviously we know how important Cannone was to the trials. Hello, she was the judge and all the rulings. And she had grave concerns over the federal investigation. Like, it's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. So, I want to play Cosgrove, what he says about Judge Cannone. And yeah, like I said, I think it's very telling. It's very telling. At some points it is kind of low, so I apologize if you guys can't hear it perfectly. I've got a new doohickey. I can try to adjust the microphone and stuff. I also don't want to mess anything up on my end. So I'm gonna play just what Cosgrove says, and then we'll get into the other individuals that also gave her references. So here is former judge and now special prosecutor Robert Cosgrove on behalf of Judge Beverly Cannone.
Okay. Good afternoon. How are you, Judge? Good to see you.
Nice to see you.
Okay.
Get some more water and I got
You can sit down. At this point, I'll introduce members of the Governor's Council. To my right, Councilor Devaney, Councilor Cipollini, Councilor Albano, Councilor Casey, and Councilor Kennedy. At this point, I'll read a letter dated April 15th, addressed to the Governor's Council. Dear Councilors, I'm pleased to nominate Beverly J. Cannone to the position of Associate Justice of the Superior Court. I submit this nomination for the advice and consent of the Executive Council pursuant to Part 2, Chapter 2 of the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Sincerely, Deval Patrick, Governor. At this point, any witnesses, if they could stand, and yourself who's going to testify, do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give today is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. And Judge, I have your witness list before we hear from you. I know you have some distinguished folks who have busy schedules, so we'll hear from them. And the first on the list is the Honorable Robert Cosgrove.
Good afternoon, Councilor Iannella and members of the council. Some 7 years after this body was kind enough to confer me to the Superior Court, it's a pleasure to be back in front of you. Prefer that I sit? Sure. But more so because it affords me an opportunity to thank you for the important work that you do, and also to express my strong support for Ms. Cannone's nomination to the Superior Court. My rough calculation is that I've known Beverly Cannone for about 27 years. In a sense, we had parallel careers. She spent most and perhaps all of her career working, before she was appointed to the district court, working for the Committee for Public Counsel Services in Norfolk County office. I, for most of that same time, worked in the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office. So I had occasion frequently to see Beverly in court. I had cases with her. She was regarded by my colleagues and certainly by myself as a very capable adversary, one who would represent her clients in very vigorous fashion, someone who knew the value of the case and was a superb negotiator, I must say. I think it's also fair to say that in our business, one's negotiating power improves when the other side knows that you're not afraid to take a case to trial. And we certainly knew that Beverly was an excellent trial attorney. While I was in Norfolk, although I always carried a caseload in the trial court, the bulk of my work was actually at the appellate level. I know that reading transcripts is regarded by some people as sort of the equivalent of having to eat your vegetables, but At best, it's kind of a master class in trial practice. And I had the opportunity then not only to see Beverly in the courtroom, but to read on a more reflective basis transcripts of her performance matched up against some of the best attorneys in our office. And the impression that I took away was the same, that she knows the rules of evidence, she knows procedure, and she knows also very much how to make and protect a record, which, believe me, is also a valuable quality in a Superior Court judge. I remember one case in particular that I worked on the appeal, Commonwealth versus Miller. It represented, I think it's fair to say, quite a challenge, would have represented quite a challenge for any defense attorney. And Judge Cannone, Attorney Cannone at the time, was trying the case opposite Mary Ann Hinkle, now one of her colleagues in the district court, but then a very aggressive and capable prosecutor. And as the case was underway, at one point, Judge Delvecchio called the lawyers up to sidebar and observed that they were really going at it pretty fiercely. And then there was what I took to be a pause. Of course, I'm just reading the cold transcript, but I took to be a pause. And she said, "I love it." And I can't read her mind, but I'm pretty sure that what she meant was that, serious as the case was, it's just a real pleasure to see very capable advocates on both sides presenting the case at the top of the form to you as a judge. I have had less contact with Judge Cannone for, I guess, obvious reasons since her appointment to the bench. I think I reviewed a few of her bails when I was sitting out in Taunton. But my contact with her since then has often been in the context of MCLE programs, particularly the sexual assault program, which she chairs. And it's just a wonderful program that I think reflects her commitment to the bar. And one of the reasons, I've done it several times, one of the reasons it's so excellent is she doesn't repackage the same program from year to year, but every year she rethinks it. What are the changes in the law? What worked well the last year? What can we do to make this program better for the bar? And I have no doubt that she would apply that same kind of intensity and diligence to her work on the Superior Court. So I don't want to go on too long. I just want to say that in nominating Beverly, the governor has selected not an armchair lawyer, but someone who is deeply and fully familiar with the work of the Superior Court, and one who I think would be a terrific asset to our court if, as I hope you do, you see fit to confirm the nomination. Thank you very much, and if there are questions.
Thank you very much. Any questions, Councilor Devaney?
Welcome here.
Thank you.
Was it 2007?
2007, yes.
Wow. Wow. So that's Councilor.
Yes, yes. Councilor Ioneller also chaired that meeting as he did this one, and you were there, and I thank you both for your support and your vote.
But you haven't been back since then. Is this something that's
No, I'll try to get here a little more often.
Well, it means a lot to have you. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well. Yeah. If you guys are just popping in, by the way, please rewind to the beginning because I see a bunch of questions that have already been asked, have been answered several times. So if you're just popping into live chat, please rewind so that I don't have to stop and explain the same things continuously. But yeah, that was 2014, and Robert Cosgrove says that he has known Beverly Cannone for 27 years. And yeah. Highly regarded she is by him. Highly regarded. You can't make this up. You really can't make this up. So, I know, and do the math on, I'm not gonna do the math on that. You guys can do the math on that. That's like, and think of how many years has it been since then? Another 12 years, right? So if you do the math on that, that's 39 years they have known each other. 39 years. And Michael Morrissey deemed it appropriate to hire a special prosecutor that's supposed to be unbiased, someone that worked in Norfolk County. Even though when you try to Google Robert Cosgrove as a judge in Norfolk County, they'll try to say, like, oh, yeah, he barely even did anything in Norfolk County. Well, we won't get into it today, but there's one case in particular that popped up. And I was like, wow, interesting. He got a very, very big case, Cosgrove, in Norfolk County, where it was almost blown. It was almost blown. And I'll just say this, Robert Cosgrove was definitely not on the side of the family whatsoever. Actually, and what's interesting is John Fanning looks like he was the lead detective from the Massachusetts State Police at that point in time. This case, by the way, would have been before Michael Proctor was in the Norfolk County Mass State Troopers Unit. So yeah, very, very interesting when it comes to Cosgrove and Cannone. That's the more bigger names that you'll know, but I do want to touch upon the other individuals that also gave her references to become a Superior Court judge because they're just as important, or at least two of them are. So next to the Honorable Cosgrove, you see Honorable Kathryn E. Hand. Clearly, this is another judge. And guess what? Thank you to this website, we also have her information. Don't you guys love this? I love this so much. I just loving all of the tea. All of the tea. So this is Judge Kathryn E. Hand. Again, was another reference for Cannone to become a Superior Court judge. She was nominated as an associate judge of the appeals court. You can see that happened on December 3rd, 2018. Before that, actually, if I pull up, do I have it still? Hang on a second, guys. Do I still have that? I don't. Anyways, she was like the presiding judge of the Barnstable courts for a little while before she was nominated in December 2018 to be the associate judge of the appeals court. Which friends, this means you have an appellate judge who is not only trying to get what seems like her friend a higher position, but now you have Cannone as a Superior Court judge. And if a defendant is trying to appeal that, you now have a judge, this judge here, Kathryn E. Hand, who knows who's to say that she's going to be unbiased if Hand sees that Cannone was the presiding judge over this defendant's case that's in the appellate court. Would Judge Hand be able to take away her what seems like friendship and be able to just focus on the court case? I don't know. And I think on top of that, what makes me say I don't know even more is her political contributions. So you can ignore all the information besides the dates. I'm really looking over here at the recipients of the individuals on the right-hand side, the people that were able to benefit from Kathryn E. Hand's political money that she gave. So some bigger names that you guys may know, Karen Polito, Charlie Baker. She's got the Republican State Committee. You remember when I said it's all of them? It's all of them. Those are the bigger names that she has donated to, which is interesting. Now, it looks like, again, I don't know when this was last updated. It looks like she hasn't donated anything since she was nominated, right? So she was nominated December 3rd, 2018. So it looks like she hasn't donated anything since then. But again, that obviously can be looked up. Oh boy. Here are some of her opinions on cases that she was presiding over. We won't get into those. I like that there's quite a few of them for her. Because again, if you really want to go into the weeds with these things, you totally can look into all these cases. There's a ton. Now, if you keep scrolling, I want to see who was there for her hearings. Oh, look at that. It's all of the same governor's council. All the same people that were voting on Cannone. And again, who do we have? Robert Jubinville, running for district attorney of Norfolk County. It's just disappointing. It's disappointing. But as you can see, I found this interesting. The individual that made this website, Patrick McCabe, also spoke on the behalf of Kathryn Hand. So I found that interesting. And obviously she became a judge. So that's why that is important when it comes to who Kathryn E. Hand is, because now that she is an appellate judge, like I said, who knows if a defendant, tries to fight their case. And Kathryn E. Hand is a part of that judgment. Everyone knows everyone. Now, after her, we have another individual. Let me clean this up a little bit because I always have tons of tabs open. Okay. Here is where we get interesting again. This man right here, Douglas Darnbrough. Man, I put his name into Google, and when I say, oh, okay, let me just pull this up. So, he ended up becoming a judge after, okay? So when he was speaking as a reference for Cannone, he was not a judge yet. He then became a judge. And some shenanigans went down with this judge. So, I'm just going to let the video do the speaking. No, not an ad. No. Oh, so rude. And I even paid for YouTube Premium. Stupid NBC.
Where was the judge? The top judge at New Bedford District Court was not on the bench for more than 2 weeks, and people reached out to us asking why.
But getting answers from the court system hasn't been easy. The I-Team's Brian Crandall has been looking into this. Brian?
Gina Patrice, after nearly 2 weeks of us asking, the court system finally told us the judge had been on vacation. But that's not the answer they gave us originally when they answered us at all. The judge is now back to work, though not in New Bedford.
Lies.
Douglas Darnbrough has been the presiding justice at New Bedford District Court since 2019. We've been asking about his whereabouts since September 22nd, as rumors swirled at the courthouse about why he wasn't there. The I-Team has learned an anonymous letter surfaced, making an allegation against the judge. That's according to the Public Defender's Office spokesman, who told me their office received a copy of the letter, but the letter did not come from them. It's unclear if that's what led up to the judge's absence, because the court system would not tell us at the time. But to be clear, by all accounts I've been told, there is nothing to substantiate the allegation in the letter, and therefore we won't give more detail. This instead is a story about the court system's lack of transparency involving a state employee drawing a six-figure salary funded by taxpayers. On September 22nd, the woman who answered the phone at the New Bedford District Court's judge's lobby told me Darnbrough was not in that day and said no comment when I asked about why he was out, and to call the court's public affairs office in Boston with questions. When I went to the courthouse that day, A court officer told me I was making people uncomfortable asking questions and to call the court public affairs office because there was an open investigation. I sent a series of emails to Massachusetts Court Public Information Officer Jennifer Donahue, asking if the judge was on leave or suspended or if there's an investigation. I was only told by email days after my first message, it is not accurate that Judge Darnbrough has been suspended.
Right.
When I followed up to ask if the judge was on leave and for more information, the response I received from Donahue was, I do not have additional information to share beyond what I have provided.
Hi, is Judge Darnbrough in today?
Following that, I called the judge's lobby on 4 separate days and was told each time Darnbrough was not in. Another specific follow-up question sent on September 29th to Court Information Officer Donahue about whether Darnbrough was on medical leave or vacation when unanswered for nearly a week. The I-team saw Darnbrough outside his home during the day last week and the week before. Both times he went inside when he saw us approaching, including last Thursday when I tried to talk to him. Little more than an hour after that interaction, Donahue emailed me a response to my email from 6 days earlier, now saying Darnbrough was on vacation until this Tuesday. Quickly responding to a follow-up email, she said Darnbrough had been on vacation since September 21st, but did not answer other questions, writing the court does not comment on personnel matters.
Liar.
She has not responded to another email in which I asked if the judge was on vacation the whole time, why she couldn't have told me that from the beginning. When I went to the New Bedford courthouse again this Tuesday and Wednesday, I was told Darnbrough was still not there. The court staffer questioned whether Darnbrough would be returning, telling me the judge was moved to another court. Indeed, Darnbrough is back to work. I saw him hearing cases in Plymouth District Court today. The court would not allow us to bring a camera into the courtroom for the purposes of recording the judge. I passed a message through a court officer to see if the judge would speak to me, but I was told the judge did not want to talk.
Of course not.
Court information officer later confirmed that Darnbrough was assigned to Plymouth upon his return from vacation, and another judge serving as the acting first justice in New Bedford at this time.
And when I asked why the judge is now in Plymouth or if the move is permanent, the court information officer replied, the court declines further comment. The state's employee payroll website shows that Judge Darnbrough makes nearly $208,000. The court's public information officer makes $194,000. I'm Brian Crandall, NBC.
First of all, you make over $200,000. $200,000. And you just randomly don't show up one day. Okay. So, chat, what do you think happened for this? And if you looked it up, don't be a cheater in the chat, live stream chatters. What do you think this judge, what do you think happened to him that made him randomly take a vacation? Because if there's one thing that we know about the system, is that usually when a governmental employee, but especially someone of importance, like a top judge, you guys are funny. What do we actually think he disappeared for? Did he randomly have an accident and was hospitalized? Well, it seems like this journalist from NBC 10, Brian, he did all the due diligence, right? And I know I saw some of you being like, oh my God, huge house. And oh, yep, that would be witness intimidation. Exactly. But what do we think happened? He wasn't hospitalized. He clearly wasn't injured. So let's see what chat maybe thinks may have happened. So we got DUI. We got SA or SH allegations. PDF file. We've got addiction. Mental health, padded wall vacation. Put on leave for investigation. We're getting closer. SA. Paid administrative leave for something. Affair. Witness protection. Oh my God, Colin. Did he cheat on his wife and go on a surprise camping trip with his mistress and then go, I decided I'm in love, and fire all of his staff? Because that's been done. You're getting closer. I know that's a little bit of of a jump. Hanging out with Robert Kraft. You guys are close. Very, very close. So, let me you guys are cracking me up. Let me pull up this next thing on him. I literally, like, I'm telling you, you find out some things and then it just leads to more. Supreme Court orders probe into alleged affair between judge and prosecutor in Massachusetts. All right, let's read this together. Massachusetts' highest court has appointed a retired judge. We've seen this film before. To investigate allegations of an undisclosed relationship between former New Bedford Judge Douglas Darnbrough and an assistant district attorney. The Massachusetts Supreme Judicial Court decision issued Tuesday has elevated what began as an anonymous letter writing campaign into a full-fledged judicial inquiry that's quickly drawing efforts to intervene from interested parties, including Darnbrough himself. So what happened here is someone wrote an anonymous letter saying that this judge was having an affair with one of his ADAs. And because of that, they put him on a temporary paid administrative leave. Then, obviously, when NBC 10 and other media sources reached out, they denied. He's on vacation. And then they just shuffled him to another district. It's literally the church all over again. This is the church 2.0. Literally. And guess what it took? It took media being annoying, and it took constituents and residents being annoying in order for to finally to be some movement. Finally. So this goes on to say, the special master shall have access to documentation from the trial court's investigation into the anonymous letter regarding the subject relationship, including statements or summaries from witnesses and reports and findings. This judge, he named retired Massachusetts District Court Judge Ernest Saracen, which I did not look into, but I'm sure there's something there. There's always something there, as we're seeing now with Cosgrove and Cannone, as a special master to investigate the matter. Saracen served on the Boston Municipal Court before joining the Massachusetts District Court. He retired in 2019. He may seek and secure other evidence as he deems necessary, the power to subpoena witnesses and documents, to administer oaths, and to regulate the course of any proceedings, and to make relevant evidentiary and other rulings that may be required. The justice ordered a report to be created within 45 days of all relevant information being collected. The report will not be made public unless the court otherwise orders. So you're going to use taxpayer dollars to look into a judge who may have been the dirty, doing the dirty on the job. Again, you're protecting the person that gets paid by taxpayer dollars. For what reason? For what reason? It's not like he was doing anything wrong, right? He was just having an affair with an ADA. Oh my God. The decision comes one day before this judge, Georges, is scheduled to hold a single justice hearing in the case of Gerson Pascual Santana, who appealed a lower court decision against reopening his case because of a potential conflict of interest, because that's what happens. If a judge starts messing around with the prosecutor and a defendant is found guilty of any crime, and that was the prosecutor prosecuting them, and that was the judge presiding over the case, yeah, you better damn well put in all of the appeals. And hopefully the appeals judge is not someone that gave a reference to any of the judges that you're dealing with. You guys are starting to see the issues, right? This is insane. I told you I went down all the rabbit holes. Darnbrough presided over Pascual Santana's case and sentenced him in 2023 to more than 3 years in prison for indecent assault and batter on a person under the age of 14. The case was tried by a prosecutor with the Bristol County District Attorney's Office, who became the focus of a series of unsubstantiated anonymous letters sent to the legal community and media organizations. The letters alleged the prosecutor and Darnbrough were engaged in an undisclosed sexual relationship at the time he was presiding over her cases in court, and that Pascual Santana was set up from the beginning. They planned to be on that case ahead of time and discussed it before and after trial, the person wrote in one of the anonymous letters. Darnbrough, who was appointed in 2019 by then Governor Charlie Baker, was quietly reassigned to Plymouth County District Court and then resigned as the anonymous letters continued to circulate. Because you know what happened? One person sent in a letter and realized he was just moved to Plymouth County. So then more people sent in letters. And more people sent in letters about all of the things in relation to this judge and this prosecutor, this ADA. Darnbrough submitted a letter of resignation to Governor Maura Healey in November of 2023. The reason for his resignation was initially redacted from the letter. But court documents later showed he cited health reasons. Jim McKenna, who is representing Pascual Santana, is seeking discovery from the Bristol County District Attorney's Office in the SJC case, alleging he wasn't provided certain evidence that could potentially show his client was treated unfairly. Oh, you mean another defendant is not getting all of the evidence that he was supposed to get? Oh, so it's a pattern. It's not just Norfolk County. And remember, this is someone that gave Cannone a reference. Okay? Remember who we're speaking about here. Both the DA's office and the Massachusetts trial court said they investigated the alleged relationship and determined it was unfounded. Of course they did, because they're all investigating each other. McKenna wasn't convicted and wrote in court documents he still hasn't received everything he's owed. Bristol County District Attorney Thomas Quinn's office has pushed back at the anonymous allegations, saying the letter writer was engaged in a long-standing harassment campaign, which his office said they were investigating. It's unclear if anything came of that probe. Meanwhile, Darnbrough on Tuesday filed a motion to intervene in the case, which, if granted, would give him greater access to non-public documents in the case and authorize his attorney to make arguments on his behalf. His interest in the subject matter of the litigation is both direct and immediate, wrote Alan Brown, an attorney with Morrison Mahoney LLP, who's representing Darnbrough. These requests connect Attorney Darnbrough in a central manner and establish compelling interests that may be adversely affected if he is not permitted to intervene and protect those interests, Brown added. Darnbrough is in private practice since retiring. The Massachusetts Trial Court and the Committee for Public Counsel Services have also filed motions to intervene. The CPCS, and the ACLU of Massachusetts have filed separate amicus briefs supporting the effort to learn more about Darnbrough's resignation. You don't say. You don't say. Uh-huh. 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 So this was, let me see. I didn't tell you guys the date of this article. Originally posted May 13th, 2025. So what's happened since then? Well, let's go over this. This happened recently, March 13th, 2026. And this article starts with investigation into alleged affair between judge and prosecutor concludes. Oh, okay, great. So 1 year later, we finally are going to get some answers, right? Cool. Let's see what they say. That's Darnbrough, by the way. Okay. A retired judge has finished investigating an alleged affair between a New Bedford judge and a Bristol County prosecutor and has filed a confidential report with the state's highest court. A public hearing in the case will be held on April 9th at the Supreme Judicial Court in Boston. So that was April 9th of this year. The filing marks the conclusion of a closed-door investigation that started in May last year. So the report is not going to be published, and the public records are also going to be closed because it was a closed-door investigation. Anonymous letters began circulating in the South Coast legal community in late 2023, alleging that New Bedford District Judge Douglas Darnbrough was having an affair with Bristol County Assistant Prosecutor Carlin Butler. The letters also accused them of inappropriately coordinating to influence the outcome of cases. Shortly after the letters surfaced, Darnbrough stopped appearing in the New Bedford court, transferred to a court in Plymouth, and then resigned, citing health reasons. Butler was still employed as a county prosecutor as of last month. The latest payroll records show. So she didn't get in trouble at all for this. In separate legal filings, Darnbrough has denied that the affair happened, and Butler has said the anonymous allegations were false. The Bristol County District Attorney's Office has said that the allegations weren't credible and were part of a harassment campaign. The allegations, if true, have the potential to impact thousands of convictions. Just like everything else we see in Norfolk County right now, right? One initial estimate by the state's public defender organization said prosecution data shows Darnbrough and Butler were both involved in 3,700 criminal cases. You have to feel like the system isn't rigged against you one way or the other. And those letters are very troubling, said Todd. These people have really interesting last names. Parmelo, sorry if I say that wrong, who represented the Massachusetts Association of Criminal Defense Lawyers in a friend of the court brief supporting further investigation. He drew comparisons to the state drug lab scandal, in which thousands of criminal convictions were overturned because of extensive misconduct in the lab testing drug samples submitted as evidence. He described the alleged New Bedford affair as a potential scandal that should shock the core of the system. People facing criminal charges are entitled to exculpatory evidence under the law. And the details in the anonymous letters raise serious questions about the proceedings that Darnbrough and Butler were involved in. If this happened, there needs to be accountability. In May, Supreme Judicial Court Justice Sergi Georges Jr. appointed retired Boston Municipal Court Judge Ernest Saracen Jr. as a special master to investigate the matter on the court's behalf. There are many ways the courts could respond if the special master uncovered misconduct, but they mainly involve revisiting convictions that may have been affected. Impacted defendants would probably at least be entitled to new trials, he said. They may need to be held in a different court if the Bristol County District Attorney's Office is determined to be too deeply entangled in any misconduct uncovered. Courts could also sanction the District Attorney's Office for misconduct by dismissing charges altogether. The Supreme Judicial Court could decide to vacate convictions en masse, as it did for the state drug lab scandal, or defendants might have to appeal. Again, hopefully the appellate judges have nothing to do with the appointing of the judges they're dealing with. Defendants who already served time in prison or jail might file civil lawsuits for damages over the time that they can never get back. Two special masters' investigations stems from appeals filed by men convicted in 2 cases involving Darnbrough and Butler in 2023. Gerson Patchwell Santana, this is the one we were just talking about, was sentenced to 3.5 years in prison after being convicted of, wedding a child under 14. And Jonathan Raskau, sorry, again, can't say the last name, was sentenced to 3 years on charges of SAing a mentally disabled person. Both men are now on probation after completing their prison sentences, according to their lawyer, James McKenna. Both were prosecuted by Butler, with Darnbrough presiding as the judge. You guys see the issues, right? McKenna has argued that the Bristol County District Attorney's Office didn't do enough to investigate the allegations about Darnbrough and Butler, and that his client's rights to potentially exculpatory evidence were violated because the prosecutor and court did not release records showing how they investigated the alleged affair. He asked the Supreme Judicial Court for new trials because of those alleged failures. In filings, the DA's office has said the anonymous letters were part of a years-long campaign of harassment against multiple employees of the DA and the trial court. I don't know why everyone always goes to, I'm being harassed, I'm being harassed. Really? Especially if you are a citizen, and especially if you are within that county, you have every right to go and question exactly what is going in your governmental system. And if this is the crap that's going on, it is not harassment to question public filings. Earlier in the appeals process, the office said it had investigated the allegations, though it later said it relied on a trial court investigation, which the office said found no evidence of an inappropriate relationship. That investigation has not been made public. My question would be, are there cameras? Were there cameras in the room with the two of them? Because if not, how the hell are you going to know? In May, so this is May 2026, Justice Georges appointed Saracen as a special master in Patchwell Santana's appeal and authorized him to access the trial court's internal investigation. The special master also had broad authority to subpoena witnesses and documents to investigate the nature and extent of the relationship between Darnbrough and Butler. Initially, the appeal was only between Patchwell Santana and prosecutors, but Darnbrough and Butler were allowed to join the case as interveners to defend their privacy, really, and reputational interests. You lost your privacy once you became a government worker, guys. Especially if you're doing shit like that when you're supposed to be working, ma'am and sir. The trial court was allowed to join the case to protect confidential judicial information. The appeals public docket shows that Saracen did issue subpoenas. 6 unnamed witnesses were involved. Several hearings were held behind closed doors. Copies of the anonymous letters appear to have been filed, as well as Caitlin Butler's forensic report and phone number. The entire investigation was to be kept confidential, and everyone involved was required to sign a protective order that prevented them from releasing any investigation materials. The special master's report is impounded unless otherwise ordered by the court. Gee golly, does that not sound exactly what's happening with Proctor's phone extraction? Right? Remember how I told you guys that as far as we know, there's been no filings by the district attorney's office in the Norfolk County Michael Proctor case regarding his cell phone data about that SA victim, right? They want to protect Proctor and not the victim that they were talking about. Same mood here. It's all the same vibes. Protect the government, not the people. The report is now in the hands of Justice Georges, a court spokesperson confirmed. The justice will preside over an in-person status conference scheduled for April 9th, the first public event in the appeal in nearly a year. Like, imagine us as taxpayers having to pay for this years-long investigation and everything's been behind closed doors. We know nothing. McKenna, the lawyer bringing the appeal, is still not allowed to discuss the materials uncovered, but in a phone interview, he said he was satisfied with the depth of the investigation. Butler's lawyers declined to comment for the story. Darnbrough's lawyers did not respond to emails requesting comment. And then also, too, a lawyer representing the trial court did not respond to emails requesting comment. Jennifer Sowa, who is a spokesperson for the Bristol County DA's office, who is representing the office in the appeals case, also did not respond to anything. Well, my friends, obviously we are now in August. It's now August 25th, 2026, as I am filming this. To my live chat members, what do you think came out above this? About this this ADA and this judge having an alleged affair? Do we think maybe he got in trouble? Do you think maybe she got in trouble? What do we think? What do we think? Oh, Victor Min, it's okay. Member for 2 months. So exciting. Late catching up on 1.25. I was told it's really difficult to listen to me on fast speed. So good. I hope you can hear everything on 1.25. Thank you, Irish, for the hiding. Hello, Boston Bia. Thank you so much for the silver star. Mrs. Tom Selleck sent a flower. Thank you so much. Fervent. Hi, friend. Hello, my friend. You are a member. Welcome to the Cool Kids Club. And now you also get the fun emojis, Fervent. And thank you to UK Carrie for the thumbs up. Chat, what do you think? Let's see what you guys are thinking. No tampering, LOL. Please tell me they were sanctioned and fired. Then we get a bunch of nope. We got a good nope. Oh, we got a promotion. We got a promotion. I bet they were promoted for bad behavior. Nothing. They impounded it. See, it's almost like you guys have been paying attention to Norfolk County, right? It's almost like it's the same crap every day. Nothing, nada, zip. He was allowed to retire. Well, we got a nice video. Let's pull this up and see what exactly happened with this case.
From the I-Team now, an investigation debunks allegations about a local judge having an affair with a prosecutor.
But it also sheds new light on why the judge was removed from his post in New Bedford. He resigned weeks later. The I-Team's Brian Crandall first broke this story in 2023. He's here now with new developments. Brian?
Patrice Jean, the Massachusetts Supreme Court ordered this investigation into an anonymous accusation that Judge Douglas Darnbrough had an inappropriate relationship with a prosecutor who regularly appeared in his courtroom. This new report clears the judge of that, but also shows a previous inquiry had raised concerns.
Allegations of an affair that could have jeopardized the outcomes of hundreds, if not thousands, of criminal cases in New Bedford's district court. But it didn't happen. That's the finding of a retired judge tasked by the Massachusetts Supreme Judicial Court with investigating the accusations contained in an anonymous letter sent around in 2023, claiming New Bedford presiding Judge Douglas Darnbrough had a relationship with prosecutor Carlin Butler. The report released today found that Judge, quote, did not engage in a romantic, emotional, sexual, or otherwise inappropriate relationship with Butler or show favoritism toward her. It was the subject of a high court hearing in Boston today. Darnbrough was not there, but his lawyers were.
There was no inappropriate relationship.
So were Butler's.
She has repeatedly said that she had no relationship with the judge after being put through a grinder, a necessary grinder that's been confirmed.
And lawyers from Butler's employer, the Bristol County District Attorney's Office, trying to show criminal cases were not tainted by any relationship.
The judge showed no favoritism or bias towards the prosecutor.
I first reported in the fall of 2023 that Darnbrough was mysteriously out of work for weeks. The court system was slow responding until telling me he was on vacation. When Darnbrough did return to work, it was in Plymouth, and he resigned shortly after. Turns out the court system had already investigated the anonymous claims. The report released today shows that initial court investigation found Darnbrough, quote, exhibited poor judgment regarding his relationship with Butler, and it created the appearance of impropriety. And that's why Darnbrough was removed from his post in New Bedford and moved to Plymouth. Darnbrough and Butler denied an affair, and the DA's office claimed the accusation was part of a years-long harassment campaign against their staff. The new report states there were widespread rumors in the courthouse of an affair, and that some things in the letter were true. That Darnbrough had attended Butler's 30th birthday party, and he once showed up uninvited to join Butler and another prosecutor at a bar. But the report finds there's no proof to establish any kind of romantic relationship.
We are objecting to that.
Lawyer James McKenna is fighting the 2023 conviction of his client because both Darnbrough and the prosecutor were involved in it. That appeal is what led to this high court investigation, and he's still skeptical.
The judge was demoted because of what the trial court found.
And the high court investigation did find there were inconsistencies between what Darnbrough and Butler said about text messages they sent and what searches of their phone data later found. But McKenna's request for a further search of the phones was denied. The Bristol County DA's office, meanwhile, has said it is investigating to determine who sent that anonymous letter that started this whole thing. I'm Brian Crandall.
What a joke. Just like everything else in Massachusetts, my friends. Just like everything else. No trouble, no nothing. He was able to retire. That's it. That's it. Like, are we actually surprised? But are we actually surprised? Like truly. Like, damn, bro. I know. I know. Oh, he's basically a Chloe. He's basically a Chloe. Exactly. They rehomed him. See, you guys are starting to see the patterns. I always say, if there's anything you're getting out of this channel, you're starting to see the patterns. Because I will consistently show you guys it's the same crap, just different names. Over and over and over. Rehomed. Just like the church. Move him around. Move him around. And then he resigned. And that's it. What a disgrace. I'm telling you, it's the same goddamn shit. Always over and over and over and over again. Over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. I just realized I didn't show you guys. Let me share that screen. I didn't show you what those two said about Cannone. So, just like Robert Cosgrove stood up and spoke on the behalf as a reference for Judge Cannone to get this promotion, so didn't the Honorable Kathryn E. Hand that I just showed you before Darnbrough, and then so didn't Darnbrough. So I'm going to play those for you guys so that you have it and you can hear what another current sitting judge on the appellate court said about Cannone in order for her to get a promotion to the Superior Court. And then also, too, what then a future judge, Douglas Darnbrough, who then had, obviously, these allegations against him, what he said in favor of Cannone in order for her to get this promotion. So, gonna play that for you guys now, just so you guys can see what everyone's saying about Cannone back in 2014. Okay.
We're good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next, we'll hear from the Honorable Kathryn Hand. And before we hear from her, I'd like to introduce the other members of the council. Councilor Beverly, Councilor Jubinville, Councilor Cipollini, to my left, Councilor Albano, Councilor Casey, Councilor Kennedy, and Councilor Duff. And now we'll hear from the Honorable Kathryn Hand.
Thank you. Good morning. Councilor Iannella, members of the council, thank you very much.
If you want to sit or stand, whatever's easier for you.
Towering is one of my problems, so let me sit for a minute. Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak in support of Judge Cannone's nomination to the Superior Court. I'm here with very mixed feelings. There is no doubt in my mind that Judge Cannone will be a gift to the Superior Court and that she will be an asset in every respect to that department. And she'll continue to serve the trial court, which is a benefit to all of us. However, the trial courts, the Superior Court's gain is our loss. And then from a district court perspective, we'll be very sorry to see her go if you confirm her nomination to the Superior Court. There are so many reasons individually that I would recommend Beverly to you as a Superior Court judge. To save time, I'm going to concentrate just on 3 general areas. I'd like to touch on each of them quickly. The first one, and you've heard a little bit about that from Judge Cosgrove, is the fact that Beverly is a tremendous legal talent. And not only a lawyer by training, Beverly is a lawyer by vocation. And what I mean by that is that Beverly does not pick up the law in the morning, take it with her to work, and put it in her briefcase at night waiting for the next day. The law is, and respect for it and commitment to it, is an intrinsic part of Beverly's personality, and it's with her all day, every day. One of the particular gifts that Beverly has that not all lawyers or judges do, even judges, is that she appreciates the terrible beauty that is the power of the law, the capacity for abuse, and the capacity for redemption that it offers, and she understands the harness that our system of law puts on that power and the need to handle that harness respectfully and appropriately, and she does. Every day, in every matter that she handles, whether it's big or small, civil, criminal, administrative, whatever it may be, that is what she wakes up ready to do, and she's tremendously effective at it. The second reason that I recommend Beverly to you is that as a judge, she has a particular gift for bifurcating her skills on leadership side and on the service side in 2 different ways. Beverly, as you know from the information that's available to you and from what Judge Cosgrove has said, has proven leadership skills. There's no doubt about that. She's a tremendous teacher. She's an excellent administrator. She's been a wonderful judge in my experience, and I've had a chance to work with her for 5 years in the district court. Beverly is capable of leading people because the people with whom she works respect what she does and how she does it. Beverly, however, is not limited to leadership because she has the humility that allows her to serve as a team member with other people leading, and to do that effectively, and to do that with the same level of commitment that she would give to responsibilities in which she was the leader. And I can tell you that from experience. I've had for the last 5 years the opportunity to work with Beverly and to sit with her on a regular basis, although not as regularly as I wish we could. And from that perspective, I know that if anyone in the courthouse in which she's sitting, or the trial court department in which she's sitting, needs help, all they need to do is call, and she will pitch in whatever way she's asked to pitch in. In the last year or so, I've had the opportunity to work with Beverly as the regional administrative justice for the area in which we both sit, which covers parts of the South Shore, the South Coast, as well as the Cape and the Islands. As part of my responsibilities in that mode, I am responsible for assigning the day-to-day sittings of the judges in the individual courts. I am not surprised about this because this has been Beverly's track record. But during the time that I've had those responsibilities, I've had to ask Beverly to take sometimes last-minute sittings that are geographically inconvenient, that are in courts that are less favored than others, that have problematic issues going on with them at that particular moment, or for other reasons may not be her first choice or even in the realm of choices if she had them to make. And Beverly has never once, not one time, complained, either directly or indirectly, about that. She has gone, she has worked with the people with whom she's been assigned, whether she knows them or not, effectively and uncomplainingly. I also have the opportunity to handle at least a large portion of the specially assigned cases in my region of the state. And as you may be aware, many cases in the district court are handled by a different judge each time the case appears in court, and in many situations that works very well. There are some cases that, either based on their complexity, their sensitivity, the unusual challenges that they present, are better suited to having one judge with some continuity in the handling of those cases, and those are the special assignment cases. There is a relatively short list of people who are responsible for, or on whom I call for those kinds of assignments, and Beverly is at the top of that list. I was doing a quick, rough calculation, and I think in the last year, between 13 and 20 cases had Beverly's name put on them for special assignment purposes, requiring her often to do some travel. Not only has Beverly not complained about those cases, not only has she handled them to the satisfaction of anyone that I've heard from, at any rate, but she has come back in more cases than not to mention her appreciation for the opportunity to work on a case that presents challenging issues, that's something that involved fine work by the lawyers involved, or that gave some twist that required the extra work that she was willing to put in. She, in essence, found a silver lining in what some people would look upon as a punishment detail, or in the words of Judge Cosgrove, eating the vegetables. And for that, I can't express my appreciation or my respect sufficiently. So Beverly is able to serve a variety of functions, all of which are useful to any judge, and particularly in the Superior Court. She would make an exceptional colleague that way. And that leads me into my third point. In affirming Beverly's nomination, you are giving the trial court, the Superior Court specifically, but the trial court generally, another public face of which it can be justifiably proud. This Commonwealth requires the services of an able judiciary. It also requires the services of a judiciary respected by the public. Judge Cannone is going to give you that opportunity on everything that she handles. She is respectful, she is polite, she's undoubtedly qualified professionally, and the way that she interacts with the public, as well as with all of the court personnel and staff and colleagues, is something that is to be emulated. And I am delighted that she's as active as she is, for example, on the district court's education committee, because she's responsible for training new judges, not only in substantive law, but on issues of demeanor and comportment, and reminders that appointed and anointed are two entirely different things. And in that, we're very lucky to have had Beverly to this point. And I hope that the Superior Court is able to take as much advantage should you confirm her appointment as we have been able to do. Those are three very brief descriptions of reasons why I strongly suggest to you that Beverly Cannone is an excellent nominee to the Superior Court. I hope that you will confirm her nomination. If there's more information that I could give you that would help you in your decision making, I would be delighted to take questions. Anything that I could answer for you.
Thank you very much. Councilor Jubinville?
It sounds like you don't want to leave the district court.
I don't. No, I'm doing what my mother calls building character, and that's on my own side. So you're doing exactly what you wish you didn't have to do personally, but you know that you should do in any other respect. So please vote yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Cannone.
Welcome back. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. 7. 7. And thank you very much for that. Yeah, that's true. Councilor Isaac. Thank you very much. Only recently, once for Chuck Ardito's.
Well, I have to tell you, your testimony amazing. Everything you said, I can't ask any questions because you covered it all. And it came through your admiration for her and respect. It's not just saying that she's just a qualified judge. It comes through. And that's important because we go for the whole person, not just someone that has the qualifications. So thank you, and good luck this evening.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Judge. Next we'll hear.
So that was the first judge that we went over. So we had Cosgrove, That was Kathryn Hand, who just went on and on and on and on and on and on about how the public respected her in 2014. Respected by the public. Well, that didn't age well, I don't think. Even if you completely ignore what media and we as a general public said about her or had thoughts about her, my brain immediately goes to the buffer zone. Immediately goes there. Because if you guys weren't here for the disaster of the buffer zone of trial 2, what a mess. What a mess. And just like Gretchen Voss in her article, Boston Magazine, you know how the people on a certain side like to say what a great thing this was for the John O'Keefe case, and mainly the witnesses. Certain witnesses, not all witnesses, right? Certain witnesses. Just like in that article where Gretchen Voss stated that a juror from trial 1 said that when he looked out the window of the courthouse, he saw a bouncy house. And Gretchen Voss alluded to the fact that Free Karen Reed and Boots on the Ground rented out this property and put up a frickin' bouncy house. Those are things and lies and speculation that Judge Cannone took at face value without doing any investigation, and then for trial 2 made this extra buffer zone insane around the courthouse. Insane. I'll never forget those signs that they put up around town, again wasting more taxpayer dollars. I'll never forget all of the cops, the state police and Dedham, which, by the way, in the courthouse with Dedham officers, not only was there John Fanning in charge of the jury, but how many times was Jerry Buchanan there behind the scenes? Right. So you have Judge Cannone, who clearly feels a certain way about the public in regards to specifically the Karen Reed trial, is taking stories like Gretchen Voss wrote about, which again had zero investigation into it, period whatsoever. Because had Gretchen and Cannone actually did their job and investigate, because you have two different ends of the spectrum there, right? You have the actual government, and then you have the actual media. Mainstream media. Boston Magazine is mainstream. They're not a little like Joe Schmo like me. Like I'm just a random resident who has a YouTube channel. You know, I'm like a nobody when it comes to the mainstream media of it all. I'm not on anything. I'm just here with you guys hanging out. Had they done what they're supposed to do and investigate, they would have realized that this bouncy house shenanigans had nothing to do with anything Karen Reed. Nothing to do with John O'Keefe, nothing to do with protesting or standing out or signage or nothing. It was a camp that was held in town that had this property and set up bouncy houses for the kids at camp. Had nothing to do with the trial or the case or anything to do within Norfolk County outside of this random camp. But instead of Gretchen Voss doing the investigating, she then made it seem like the Free Karen Reed people were a certain way. We've heard this time and time again, acting like it's a cookout with games and things. That never happened. That never happened. Never. I know there's some boots on the ground that are in here being like, And then to flip it on the other side, Judge Cannone then used that, and abused it, frankly, and extended this insane buffer zone, hired extra cops. You couldn't even step over, like, they had this, like, basically invisible fence that had signs that's like, you're now entering the buffer zone. You could not step past that sign with anything related to the case. If it said justice for John, nope. If it said free Karen Reed, nope. If it had rubber ducks, nope. Like, I remember at one point, it might have been like day 1 or day 2 of this buffer zone. And I'll never forget standing there. Brandy, if you're still here. Oh, Brandy's still here. We were standing, it must have been day 1. It must have been opening statements. We were standing, because Brandy parked pretty much like right at the sign. And then her and her husband were kind enough to put a huge TV on the top of their SUV. Still love you guys for that. Seriously, though, that was huge. You helped out so many people that couldn't pull it up on their phones because service sucked around there because everyone was on the Wi-Fi's and the cell towers. So we're standing there at the edge, right? And we're watching the opening statements. And it was Dina. You guys all know Dina. We love Dina. If you guys don't know her, she's tan all the time, and she's got beautiful tattoos, and she's got beautiful, lovely turquoise glasses. You guys know Dina if you know Boots on the Ground. I'll never forget it. She walked back. I think she was just going to the bathroom. But to get to the public bathroom, you had to walk into this buffer zone. So she comes back, and her shirt's inside out. Turning to her, and I was like, why is your shirt inside out? She's like, these motherfuckers. Fucking cops. My shirt doesn't even say anything, but they said it alluded to the case, so I had to turn my shirt inside out. So right in front of these cops, I took my shirt off, I put it inside out, and I put it back on. But that's how this was. That's how this was. It was insanity. Insane. So like I said, I don't know how you go from 2014 hearing all these things about Cannone to all of a sudden it flips. Now she, like, seemingly, to me, in my opinion, it looks like she hates the public. It looks like she hates us. She does not care. Did not care whatsoever. Didn't want us near the courthouse. Didn't want anyone to hear us. Can I understand the issue with things being heard in the court and also for the jury? Totally get that. 1000% get that. On the flip side, you cannot stop the public from voicing their opinion. It's within reason. And she used it under the guide of public safety. Right. I can't. Oh, and also too, thank you, Turtle Power, for the sparkle. All right, so now we are going to listen to Douglas Darnbrough, that other judge who resigned, who had the affair allegations against him. So now let's hear what he has to say about Judge Cannone in 2014.
From Attorney Douglas Darnbrough.
I appreciate the opportunity to come today and speak to you concerning Judge Cannone. I've never been here before. My name is Douglas Darnbrough. I'm an assistant clerk magistrate in the Parton District Court. Prior to my hire there last August, I was a sole practitioner in Bristol County. I practiced there for over 18 years in criminal and civil litigation. And I say that because for those 18 years, every single day, I was in a district court or a superior court. And I've had the opportunity to meet all types of judges in all different courts, Bristol County, Plymouth County, all different counties. And I knew of Judge Cannone before she was appointed to the bench. I was a member of the CPCS private attorney panel and the appeals panel. And on those panels, you receive emails and newsletters and different correspondence. And I was familiar with her name. I did not know her personally. And it was no secret to anyone that she was a top gun litigator. Her name was associated with several top cases, rulings of law, etc. And when she was appointed to the bench, we still didn't know, as fellow practitioners talked, what kind of judge she would be. And shortly after her appointment, she was sent to Bristol County. And I, as a practicing attorney, did almost every single thing in front of Judge Cannone, from arraignments, bail hearings, dangerousness hearings, motions, criminal trials, civil trials, everything you could possibly think of. And she made me a better lawyer during the time. She made other people better lawyers over the time. She embraces those qualities, as you spoke of earlier. It's not just her legal expertise, her trial skills. She is the complete package that you would look for in a judge. She has great judicial temperament. She has great integrity. She has great respect for all people that appear in front of her, the lawyers, the pro se litigants, hearing the restraining order cases. She has great respect for the process. She's also a person of great kindness. And during the time I sat in court with my own cases, or perhaps I'm waiting for cases to be called, I would sit and listen to her deal with other cases. And she did so the same. And I could sit here probably all afternoon and give you examples of my cases and other cases I've heard. But the common denominator between all those cases on every day, different courts, whether it be Fall River, New Bedford, where have you, was the same thing. She did so with compassion, thoughtfulness, kindness. She knew the law, she analyzed the law, and she meshed the law with the facts. And she did so in a way that she explained things to people if they were there without lawyers. She would explain things to the litigants, the pro se litigants. To lawyers, she would explain the law. She would use hypotheticals during motion arguments, during trials. She certainly knew the law, knew evidentiary issues. But she encompasses more than that. She has a great judicial temperament. She embraces the law. She's a student of the law. For one of the very first times in a motion hearing I did, I received in the mail a few days later a 3-page written decision. And that's not something you often see in the district court. Oftentimes it's allowed or denied on the margin just because that's the way the district court did it. It's a very busy court, as we know. And I learned that Judge Cannone is a student of the law. She is on the education committee for the district court, and she's a frequent lecturer at the Massachusetts Continuing Legal Education. I've attended those seminars as well. And frankly, one day when I left the seminar, I called a colleague of mine and we had conversation. He asked about who was there and what the seminar was about. And I said, without reservation, I think Judge Cannone should be on the Superior Court. And I appreciate the opportunity to come here today. And I think Judge Cannone, as Judge Hand indicated, is a tremendous asset to the district court. I think she has so much more to offer to the Superior Court. The Superior Court, as we know, deals with some of the same issues, but they also encompass a little bit more issues. There's the severity of the charges, the severity of the punishment, and I think Judge Cannone would embrace those. I have seen her, with my own cases and other cases, make very difficult decisions. She's not afraid to make a decision. She's embraced civil law. I've had many civil cases in front of her, and she's done a tremendous job. I watched her in the civil sessions numerous times with very seasoned attorneys and very novel legal issues decide those cases. I think she would be a great asset to the Superior Court Department, to the trial court, and to the people of the Commonwealth.
Thank you very much. Any questions?
I just want to thank you for testimony because you have appeared before her and you're sitting as an assistant magistrate, so that means a lot. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next we'll hear from Attorney.
And just knowing what ended up happening to him, Darnbrough. Well, there's one more person that spoke on the behalf of Judge Cannone. This is an attorney by the name of Susanna B. Murphy. She did not become a judge. I will pull up exactly what she's doing now. She is going to speak more on like the personal behalf of Judge Cannone and who Susanna Murphy thought of Judge Cannone like behind the scenes. But just so you guys know, you can put a face to who this person is. So she, let me see. She now has her own company, Campus Investigations, Independent Investigations Consulting. It says that she founded Campus Investigations LLC after approximately 17 years with the Committee for Public Counsel Services. So she also worked with Cannone in the Public Defender's Office of Massachusetts. As founder of Campus Investigations LLC, Ms. Murphy conducts a range of investigative services, including independent investigations of alleged sexual misconduct and other alleged inappropriate activity on college and university campuses, criminal defense investigations of all levels of complexity, domestic relations investigations, worker comp surveillance, background investigations, and recovering lost property. So that is who Susanna Murphy is. I think that's all I really want to talk about with her. So let's get to what she has to say about Judge Cannone in 2014 and why she thinks that Judge Cannone deserves the promotion to the Superior Court.
Susanna Murphy.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I met Judge Cannone about 16 years ago when I transferred from the Suffolk County Superior Court Office of CPCS to the Norfolk County Superior Court Office. And I got to know her first as my trial supervisor, as a colleague, as a boss, as a friend, as a running partner, and a fellow mother. So I've known her on many levels. And prior to going to Norfolk County, I of course had heard of Attorney Cannone, and I knew that she was an outstanding trial attorney. And I immediately saw that she was held in the highest regard by all of the judges before whom we practiced. But she also was well respected by virtually all of the court personnel with whom we dealt every single day. From prosecutors to clerks to probation officers to the transport teams who would bring our clients to and from court every day, Beverly knew every single person's name and they knew hers. And the reason they knew Judge Cannone's name was because they knew that he was the attorney who took the most difficult cases, the most challenging clients, who always stepped up to take that extra difficult task. And she did so with integrity in every situation, and she treated us all with the same amount of respect. Perhaps because she grew up with a father who had been a prosecutor and not just a defense attorney, she understood and recognized that everyone in the system had their job to do. Yet she was equally able to be as zealous as other attorneys of her caliber. Judge Cannone once lost a rape case that involved horrifying allegations. And she believed in her heart that her client was innocent. And she believed that the judge in that case believed in his innocence as well. But the jury convicted him. And despite being absolutely crushed for her client, she understood when the judge handed down an extremely harsh sentence, because she recognized it was the judge's job to look at the evidence upon which this jury had convicted this man and set an appropriate sentence. And that was a revelation for me, and I think would have been for many defense attorneys. I understand that as a judge, Beverly has operated much like she did as a trial supervisor. She is calm and fair and knowledgeable. She demands excellence from the attorneys before her, though she is understanding of and supportive and encouraging to those with less experience. She will not allow the wrong thing to happen to a party before her if the law permits her to do the right thing. Now, if it weren't for her friendly and supportive personality, I'll confess I might have found Judge Cannone's remarkable ability to do it all intimidating, possibly annoying. And I remember telling my sister fairly early on in our friendship, telling my sister about the fact that Judge Cannone had a higher caseload than any attorney in our county, that she spent her nights and weekends visiting her clients and her clients' families, that she was raising 3 boys, serving on the boards of their nursery school, ran every day, read voraciously, and never forgot Secretary's Day. And my sister tried to make me feel better by saying, oh, I'm sure she can't do it all. She probably feeds her family out of a can. And much to my dismay, I learned that she's a wonderful cook as well. And having logged many a mile over the years between Hopkinton and Boston alongside of Judge Cannone, I can tell you, I know Beverly Cannone inside and out, about as well as anyone can get to know a person. Undoubtedly, her family plays the most important role in her life, but I also can tell you the justice system runs a very close second. And as a citizen of Massachusetts, I would be very proud to have her serving as a judge in the Superior Court.
Thank you very much. Any questions?
That was very helpful.
Thank you. Thank you. That will conclude the witness list for the people in support of the nomination of
There's about 40 people that just dropped out of the live stream, and they're about to miss what Cannone says about herself. Oops, they're really going to miss out. So, as you could say, like I said, that Susanna B. Murphy was for more of like the personal side of Judge Cannone. You know, about what a perfect, beautiful human being she is. Yay! Yay! What do you think Cannone's going to say about herself? All of the things. So those of you who have ever been interested on how Cannone would define herself, obviously this may have now shifted a little bit because it's been, what, 12 years since she did this speech on herself. We'll call it a speech. But yeah, let's hear what Judge Beverly Cannone has to say in her own words about herself, going back to 2014, and the reasons why she thinks she deserves the promotion to be a Superior Court judge, to then preside over a case, the murder investigation of John O'Keefe, which resulted in two internationally known trials where she slaughtered her own goddamn relation with her own reputation. Let's hear what Cannone has to say about herself.
being no one in opposition. Judge, we'll hear from you if you can give us a brief presentation.
Thank you.
That's why you believe you should be an Associate Justice in the Superior Court.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, Councilor Ionella and councilors. It's an honor to sit here before you today as a nominee for a position on the Superior Court. I am very grateful for the governor for his confidence in my ability, and I thank this body for your consideration of my nomination. I'm very humbled by all of this. As you may know, I grew up in Quincy, one of 6 kids who went through the Quincy public schools. We all played sports, some, my brother John, with distinction, others for fun. We all began working when we were kids. My siblings and I had a paper route. I worked for the Quincy Recreation Department. I worked at the Milton Cinema. I waitressed all through high school, college, and well into law school. Our mother worked in the lunchrooms of our schools when we were growing up, and our father was a public defender and one of the first full-time ADAs in Massachusetts under Bill Delahunt. My husband, Frank, also grew up in a working-class family. He's from Dorchester. We've been married 30 years this summer. Our parents worked hard, and the values they instilled in us serve us well today. Integrity, respect for others, and the desire and ability to work hard are traits that we're now proud to see in our own children. Growing up, I had always hoped that I would have a career in the courtroom. Some of my fondest memories as a kid involved some of the greatest legal minds of our times. There were defense lawyers, prosecutors, judges sitting around our family's dinner table, telling war stories and laughing and yelling and arguing well into the night. I knew then that I would be a lawyer and a voice for those who needed one the most. And I was fortunate to start at CPCS right out of law school in 1985, at a time when more cases went to trial than they do today. My first client was indicted, so I began in Superior Court immediately. And I remember I tried 6 Superior Court jury trials in a 5-month span before I had even been a lawyer for 2 years. It's just how we did things back then. In the nearly 25 years that I was a public defender, I tried dozens of cases in Superior Court, ranging from OUIs and drug cases to armed robberies, rapes, and murder cases. Most of my trials were life felonies, and I represented defendants in some of the most heinous crimes in Norfolk County. So I know what it's like to stand next to the most despised person in the courthouse when the jurors hear the indictments read for the first time. To provide no answers, but perhaps some small comfort to a family who's lost a child through violence, either through death or prison. I know what it's like to not see much of my own family because when on trial, most of my time was spent at my dining room table, working long into the night. And to scour the case law to try and find a case that might provide me the means to succeed on a motion to suppress to get my client out from under a 15-year mandatory minimum sentence. Through my work, I've witnessed the pain, desperation, and confusion that often overwhelms people when they're thrown into the court system. I do my best to afford each person who appears before me the dignity that he or she deserves. I promised the governor 4.5 years ago that I would look each person in the eye who appeared before me and call them by name. I have done that every day, and I will always do that. I was a trial lawyer, and I'm a judge, but like all of us, I don't want to be defined solely by my career. Frank and I raised 3 boys. Nick, our youngest, is here today. He's a student. He's a junior at the University of Rhode Island. He is doing very well, and he has found his niche. It's a great place for him. Frankie, our middle boy, couldn't be here. He is in finals right now, finishing up his first year at Tulane Law School down in New Orleans, and he loves it in New Orleans. Charlie, our oldest son, who also couldn't be here today, is a West Point grad who 1 year ago today returned from a tour in Afghanistan, where he received the Bronze Star. He's home, he's safe, he's out in Washington State at Fort Lewis. He's a lieutenant, and he'll be coming home for a West Point classmate's wedding on May 31st. I served on the board at my kids' nursery school. I was on my town's education foundation forever, 7, 8, 9 years, something like that. And I've taught them all at CCD. I read about 40 or 50 novels a year, but I couldn't tell you the name of the book I'm reading right now or what I read last week. I cook for large family gatherings and for my son's friends and their teammates, and I've run the Boston Marathon 9 times in the last 13 years. Very, very slowly. I know how fortunate I am to live the life that I live, and I understand and am aware that the whole world could change in an instant. I think that that balance that I achieve between my personal and professional lives contributes to my ability to be a good judge and be empathetic to all who may appear before me. And I've cried in court. I love being a district court judge. I wake up every day grateful for the opportunity that was given to me and looking forward to going to work. I work with some amazing people. All have met Judge Hand. I believe the work done by the dedicated judges in the district court is very important, and I have found it tremendously rewarding. And I firmly believe that under the leadership of Chief Justice Dolly, the District Court of Massachusetts will become the model for the nation. And I've enjoyed being a part of that. But I miss the Superior Court. I miss the gravity and complexity of the cases that I tried there. As a trial lawyer, I prided myself on my knowledge of evidence and my trial skills. I've been honored by the Mass Bar, by CPCS, and the American College of Trial Lawyers for my ability as a trial lawyer. I'd like to return to the Superior Court as a judge because I believe that I can contribute to that great court. I respectfully and humbly ask you for your support.
Thank you very much. Before we have the counselors ask you questions, are there any family or friends that you'd like to introduce?
Yes, my son Dick, and my husband Frank Cannone, and my brother John is here. My brother John Prescott. Thank you.
Thank you.
Crazy. It's crazy, right? So the tone of the voice you guys are hearing is it's that customer service voice. And if you've ever worked in like retail, you get it, right? If you ever worked at a restaurant, you get it. You know, it's kind of like, it's not voice frag, but it's like that higher pitch just sounds like you're more like kind and, you know, just like, you know, thank you for calling the 99 restaurants. How may I help you? It's like that. Sugar tone, Quinn. There you go. Put a little sugar onto the voice. Because I remember was that Emily who just said that in chat a little bit? Do you find that funny, Ms. Reed? Like that's her real voice. That's Cannone's real voice. This what you're hearing on here, that is her. Hey, can you please like just be really nice to me? And like, yeah. So I'll just show you the rest of what this website looks like when you scroll down. So you can see, obviously, other governor council members asked her questions. She answered them. Not really a big deal. Do we want to listen to Jubinville? Maybe we should listen to Jubinville since he's running for district attorney. I think that'll be the one that we'll listen to. Yeah, because there's only one recording of him, and I haven't listened to this yet. So let's listen to what Robert Jubinville, who, like I said, is running for Norfolk County District Attorney, who was on the Governor's Council, who helped get Cannone promoted to the Superior Court. Let's see what he has to say, and hopefully the microphone's not low because you guys can tell only Cannone is talking into a microphone. No one else is, so it's kind of annoying. So I hope this is okay for us. But let's see what he has to say, or what he asks her, if anything.
Councilor Jubinville.
Thank you. Congratulations again.
Thank you.
I have had the opportunity to met you how many years ago. Chief of Superior Court. It seems like forever.
Oh, he said I had the opportunity of something. I don't know if he said work with, work for, see her, but he had the opportunity to at least see Cannone in the Norfolk County Superior Court before. Well, there's that. Well, Jesus.
And I had the pleasure of going before you attended the district court. We were all very courteous to clients, the staff, the courthouse, and the decision. We were always honored by lighting, well done. And I couldn't be more pleased to go before you. So then, all night, I'm proud of you.
He is not speaking into a microphone whatsoever.
Proud of you.
Thank you.
She just whispered thank you, so he's basically just like praising her. That's all he's doing. Something about courtroom friends? Huh.
Gravitate towards somebody who's got been around past offender.
For a long, long time.
And you would always have stories or they would tell you what little hints to do. And one of those people you like to see in the courthouse.
Yeah, I can't really hear anything, chat.
Thank you.
I also want to indicate that the council is very supportive of you. I told them all about you also, and share this. I also got a call from Judge Barrett.
Judge Barrett, remember that name.
Mr. Gatti, Beverly, O'Day, Mark Cohen involved, Judge McAllister.
He's just naming all these judges. Huh.
And I'm sure there were many more that just didn't go and I'm pleased about what
Thank you very much.
So he didn't ask any questions. He basically was just giving her flowers. Basically giving her flowers. And I said this earlier, so maybe you missed this, Jade, but Jay says, that's not unreasonable. These people are all in the same profession. Wouldn't surprise me if they're familiar. But you're missing the point. The point is this: if you are going to A, go for promotion in government, or B, run for a position like district attorney, you have to be forthcoming with who you know and what you have done in the past. And Jubinville has been, I get it, running on the standpoint of being one of the most outspoken out of all the Democratic candidates, and that Karen Reed was wronged, she didn't do this, blah, 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 blah. He never once said, he said he was on the governor's council, he never once said that he was a part of the reason why Cannone became promoted and became a judge of the Superior Court. Never, not once. This is the issue. He also never said that his daughter became a judge when he too was on the governor's council. And again, like I said before, not that she didn't have the resume to back that up, but that's the issue. You're not being forthcoming to your constituents. That is an issue. If I'm going to be this hard on Greg Connor and Perkins and Lee, I'm going to be hard on all of them. Frankly, that's how I've been from the get-go. It's the reason why I waited so long to even endorse Adam Deitch, because I wanted to see what everyone was about. I, in good faith, cannot say, okay, if you don't feel comfortable with Deitch, well then maybe Jubinville would also be a good candidate for you. Not after this. Hell no. Hell no. Absolutely not. No. No. I can't. I can't. I'm not okay with it. And frankly, I'm exhausted of people in government using this pretty much for what Jade has said. And again, no hate to you, Jade. Using what Jade has said as an excuse to not be, frankly, honest to us as the general public. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. Like, we as a public shouldn't have to do public records request and chase tails and be like someone like Corey Hopkins, who lives in another state, file lawsuits to get responses on public records requests. Do you guys know how many like literal actual public records requests are outstanding with the Massachusetts State Police? It's in the hundreds. It's in the hundreds. They just don't respond. That's my point. It's a waste of our goddamn money. So annoying. Exactly, Scott. They're all tied together. And it just depends on in what way in the past have they worked together, in what capacity. Are they hanging out behind the scenes? Are they doing things they shouldn't be doing? And unfortunately, it takes things like finding these websites for us to figure it out. And it shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't be like that, especially if you're running for a position like the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office in this point in space and time when it is so contentious, when there's so much on the line. Which one of these candidates is actually going to reopen the cases? Can I trust someone like Robert Jubinville to do that? I don't know. And the fact that I can actually say I don't know, that's not enough for me then. I should know at this point in time, when we are in early voting stage for this, I should be able to say, yes, absolutely, I know for a fact that you will. I'm not there with Jubinville, especially after not finding all this out this past weekend. Can't do it. And I won't. And I won't. Now, I also want to show you guys some funny things that I found about some other judges on this website. So if you've been following all of the cases, you understand that there's a lot of judges that we have come across. So I'm just going to kind of show you the layout and how to get to all these other different judges. So if you look at the top right here, you can see there's already a drop down for a superior. So let me see. If I go home, I should be able to pull up all of the current judges. Here we go. Okay. So a lot of these names you guys probably aren't going to know. Some of them you might. For instance, I forget how to say his last name. Belazos? Right, we know him. If I keep scrolling, we're going to see some other names. There's Cannone again. There's Conley, who I believe is the judge for this Thursday for Lally. I'm not too sure. Okay, so let's click on Doolin. We know Doolin, we do love his personality, don't we? We kind of do. Bro. We do like Doolin. He has a funny personality. Is he perfect? No. No, because he just had the case where Karen Reed was trying to get her cell phones back. Remember Alan Jackson flew into this? That was like, what, maybe a couple months now ago, maybe 6 weeks ago? And Alan came and was trying to get Cosgrove taken off of her cell phones of it all because he's conflicted. Now, after hearing this today, do you guys realize how conflicted Cosgrove is, especially to Karen Reed, considering Cannone? Well, just looking at Doolin, we've got who he has donated to in the past. So this starts in 2002. When was he nominated? He was nominated to Superior in 2019. So this is well before he was a judge. He was attorney at this point. But we see Marty Walsh. We see Mitt Romney. Who are there other bigger names? Michael Sullivan. I'm pretty sure that's the judge that is now on the Lindsay Clancy case. So that's interesting. You can see he really liked Marty Walsh for many years. Wait a second. John Conley. Hold on. Is that Canton Select Board, John Conley? Hold on. It's an Irish name. Remember, Massachusetts has a lot of Irish folks. I don't know John Conley's middle initial. Hold on. I'm gonna see this for a second. I need to look this up live just to make sure. Because I didn't look at these before I clicked on it. No, John R. Conley. Let me see if anyone in chat has said anything now. John R. Conley is an American politician. Let me see. So it's not John Conley from the Canton Select Board. Okay. Oh. John R. Conley served from 2008 to 2014 Boston City Council. And he also ran for Boston Mayor. Okay. But then we have Tom Menino. Oh, and look at that. Jubinville. Huh. Oh, Robert Hedlund. Look at all these names. Wow. William Keating. Who always mentions Bill Keating? Greg Conner. Because Greg Conner doesn't want to mention Morrissey, so he always mentions Delahunt and Bill Keating. Again, things just to have you guys think of. Oh, there's Morrissey. Oh, there's Morrissey right there. Mm-hmm. There's Jubinville again. This is like... Thank God this is all public. This used to not be public. Jubinville, Sullivan. It's insane. Now let's see if we can get... Jubinville also was on the governor's council for Doolin. And let me see. David Meyer. Wasn't David Meyer one of the attorneys? Wait, David Meyer, I think, is one of the drug lab attorneys. Almost positive. And he spoke on the behalf of Doolin. Let me see. David Meyer, attorney. I'm almost positive he was one of the ones that was on, drug lab scandal. Huh. Interesting. So that's some of Doolin's connections. This is an interesting one right here. If you guys don't follow me on Twitter, I have spoken about Sharon E. I don't know if it's Donatelli or Donatel. For those of you who don't know who Judge I'm going to say Donatelli because I think that's how it's pronounced. She has a husband who is an attorney. Her husband, that is an attorney, was hired by a witness of the John O'Keefe murder investigation. And this same attorney, Donatelli, actually had just wrapped up a case like a month before John's death that happened at the American Legion in Quincy, where it was rumored that Michael Morrissey was present for. The victim's name was Chris McCallum. I mention his name pretty often. And it was an interesting occurrence. And the similarities between Chris McCallum's case and John O'Keefe's case are staggering. Staggering. Truly, the main difference were the main players, the names, and then the towns, the cities. Obviously, Canton versus Quincy. But I tell you guys this all the time. Quincy and Canton are very interconnected. Obviously, I like to say Quincy is like Morrissey land. District Attorney Michael Morrissey. It's where he lives, where he grew up. You just heard Cannone talk about how she grew up there too. How Morrissey's mother and Cannone's mother were lunch ladies together. Anyways, I digress. So Chris McCallum was at the American Legion. And obviously there was drinking. There was a band there that he wanted to see. And similar to all American Legions, the Elks, whatever, they tend to stay open later than they're supposed to. So that's kind of what happened this night. And there were two men there that were causing problems at the end. And so the bartender kicked everyone out. But these two brothers were poking, causing all this trouble. Ended up being a huge brawl outside of the Legion. And unfortunately, Chris got in the middle because he was trying to break up the fight. He was not in the fight. He was trying to break up the fight. Well, one of these brothers that was poking, ending up hitting Chris. He unfortunately fell back onto pavement, not grass, pavement, had very similar injuries to John O'Keefe. Now, the difference with the actual scene of John's death and Chris's death is Chris had plenty of people around him that gave a shit. People that called 911. Thankfully. Now, unfortunately, because of the injury that Chris sustained, which, like I said, was very similar to John's, Chris ended up passing away a few days later in the hospital. But at minimum, there was someone there to call 911 to help. Obviously, John was not afforded that luxury. Now, what's interesting, like I said, about Chris McCallum's case, there was supposed to be video footage at the American Legion. That magically went poof. No video footage. And even though there was plenty of witnesses, people were afraid to come forward because of who these brothers were connected to. Their father was someone very important. Their sister was someone very important. So it took, I think it was like 8, 9, 10 months for these two men to finally be arrested. Even though, like I said, there was supposed to be video footage and plenty of witnesses. Now, like I said, this judge's husband was one of the attorneys that defended one of these brothers. But what I always found interesting is the brother that her husband defended was not the one that threw the punch. This brother was the one that was there and obviously was involved in the fight, but didn't actually do the quote unquote damage. And I find it interesting that this case that was huge, I remember Chris McCallum's case, and I remember vividly seeing his picture and his family photos all over the news, because very similar to John, we're talking about a young, good-looking guy, young family, young kids, and you have the corruption of Quincy PD, Michael Morrissey, Massachusetts State Police, and the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office. It's all the same crap. It was all the same crap. So the two brothers ended up being found guilty, and they essentially, like, I don't want to say got off scot-free, but their final what's the word? I'm not charges. What's the word? What they ended up finally getting for their sentencing was minimum to what actually happened. And the witness that, like I said, hired her husband to defend him was none other than Brian Higgins. So Donatelli wrapped up this case December 2021. A month and a half-ish later, January 29, 2022, John O'Keefe is murdered. A few days later, Brian Higgins is having an interview with Proctor and Yuri at Donatelli's house. Not only an attorney's house, a sitting judge's home. Yeah. So this is the face of Sharon Donatelli. She's still a judge. And if we want to learn a little bit more about her, so it doesn't have the date, which is interesting, on when she was nominated to go into the Superior Court. But here is what I'm talking about when I was mentioning earlier of the contributions, where when you look up the name Donatelli, it also brings up her husband's name, Michael, the attorney that Brian Higgins hired. So we were looking into the names. You can't make this shit up. You got Jubinville on there. So October 4th, 2021, Donatelli, the attorney that Higgins hired, donated to Jubinville. And then you have that multiple times. As you can see, Sharon, the wife, obviously the judge, who was an ADA in Plymouth County, she's donated to Martha Coakley, Tim Cruz, who is the current district attorney for Plymouth County. And look how many times she donated to him over the years. Ay, 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 ay. It's just too much. It's too much. It's too much. Obviously, Jubinville was on the governor's council for her nomination to be promoted to Superior Court. Oh, and not only that, he was the presiding judge on Donatelli. Do you see what I mean when I say you go down the rabbit hole and you find all of the things? I'm sure if we look up these names really quick, we'll figure out who they are. Okay, let me see. This is just, let me see. David Naughton. We can look him up really quick, see who he is. David Naughton is, let me look up Massachusetts. Not sure. Apparently there's multiple David Naughtons, and I don't think chat knows him, which is fine. Don't know who he is, but if I also look up Judge John Locke, we're doing this in real time so that you guys can see how I do this. Former Chief Justice of the Trial Court, retired. Prominent Massachusetts judge. Oh, interesting. Served as the Chief Justice of the Massachusetts Trial Court from January 2022 until his retirement in December 2023. He was appointed as a Massachusetts Superior Court judge in 2001. He also chaired the Massachusetts Sentencing Commission. And then who's Liam Scully? An attorney. Boston criminal lawyer. Yep. So that happened. Now, if I go to more names that you guys know for judges that are in the Superior Court, look at this, Gildea. You guys want to look at Gildea? If you don't know who Gildea is, he is the judge who is overseeing the O'Keefe versus Karen Reed / Canton Bars lawsuit, as well as the, okay, who's suing Karen and Turtle? Jen McCabe, Colin Albert, Brian Higgins versus Karen Reed and Aidan Turtleboy Kearney. Okay, good Gildea. Let's see what's going on. He was nominated in 2016. Ooh, we have contributions. Michael Brady. Let me see. Buckley. Martha Coakley. I see. Oh, Joe Early. Oh, that's Worcester, whatever that county. I'm having a brain fart. Joe Early. I mean, you can't make this up. Yeah, it is. Joe Early is the district attorney for Worcester County. Like, I mean, now granted, a lot of these names are under Charlotte, so I don't know if that's Judge Gildea's wife. I'm assuming so. But yeah, when you type in Gildea, this is what comes up. All right, let's see what else. And again, Jubinville was there for, oh my God, there for everything. Ay, ay, ay. Oh, and look at this. So one of the individuals that spoke on his behalf, Michael Brady, they donated to him at one point. Because I just saw that name. Where is it? Michael Brady. Right there. October 29th, 2015. Michael Brady. Hmm. I hope this individual who made this website, what's your name again, sir? My last name's McCabe. I hope you always keep this up, Patrick McCabe, because this is a wealth of information. We as residents need to know these things. Okay. And then if I only do a couple of more, who else do you guys know for judges? You guys starting to see the patterns though? Oh, there's Krupp. We'll look at Krupp. Look at that picture. Wow. All right, he was nominated 2012. All right, who are you donating to, Krupp? Patrick Duval. Couple of Patrick Duvals. All right, that's not that many. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. From 2002 to 2018. Granted, Cannone had none. So she at least gets that. And it looks like Jubinville was not there for Krupp. And who spoke on his behalf? Oh, look. The individual that made the website again, Patrick McCabe. Interesting. All right, Krupp, that wasn't too bad. Krupp watching this is like, oh, thank God. No, he's probably not watching this. Oh, here's the judge that at one point was potentially going to be overseeing Karen Reed's case, but then Cannone took it over. Katie Cook Rayburn. She's a younger judge. She was nominated 2021. Okay, Katie. Oh, and Timothy Cahill. So she really hasn't donated much to anyone either. And Jubinville was there. Of course. Oh. Oh. Daniel O'Malley. Huh. Oh. Yeah, I was about to say, that's a big wig in Quincy. Huh. Hmm. So she's got connections in the Quincy district. Oh, and look, he donated to Tommy Coke. Oh, and if you know, you know. If you know, you know. Oh, these names. Blotti. I can't. I can't. Like you. Seeing a trend. These Quincy guys, my friends. The Quincy, we'll call them Quinceyites. Although we don't see any donations to Morrissey, do we? Oh, but there's Bill Keating. Wow. Bill Keating. Tom Menino again. Oh, I spoke too soon. There's Morrissey. There he is. There he is. So, Tobin. Yeah. Oh, and look, and even list where they speak at other ones. Oh, I didn't know they do that. Oh, I like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He spoke for 8 other appointments of 8 other judges. Huh. Oh, and Jubinville was also there for his appointment. It's everyone. Let me see. So if I go back, who else do you guys want to see? Do you want to see? Sitsitsky doesn't really have much. He's not really worth it. I think I looked at Sullivan before. Sullivan doesn't have much. Sullivan's on the Lindsay Clancy case. I'm sure you guys are familiar with the face if you've been watching the trial. So he was nominated in 2014. Oh, he's a Quincy guy? Oh. Or at least he was in 2002 and 2009. Timothy Cahill. What? He was there for Jubinville's daughter? No way. No. No. No, this isn't real. Hold on. Hold on, let me click on this. Hold on. Did he oh. Damn. Just when you think you can like a judge. Oh, he did, didn't he? Let me scroll down. Yep. So the judge, some of you may be like, what the hell is she talking about? The judge on the Lindsay Clancy case, Judge Sullivan, spoke as a reference for Jubinville's daughter to become a judge. And again, I looked at her resume. I was like, of course, like she's more than overqualified. The issue is just the non-transparency of it all. Oh boy. Oh boy. It gives me the ick. Oh, why is there comments on this one? Why can't there be comments on all of them? Because that would be very interesting. Oh. Judge Sullivan, who presides in Plymouth County, is 69. He'll be out soon. Yeah. Huh. All right, going back to this tab. Is there anyone else you guys want to see? I'm trying to think if there's any other judges that you guys would know off the top of my head from the various cases. I can go to past judges. So these aren't current judges anymore. I don't know if you guys know any of them. Oh, there's Cosgrove. Speaking of the devil. So these are either judges that have retired, obviously like resigned, or they became judges somewhere else, right? So it doesn't necessarily mean people that have all retired. It kind of runs the muck. I don't know if there's any of these names that you guys would know, but you guys can see how thorough this website is. And so if you're ever interested in checking it out, I did link it in the description of this live stream, so you guys can check it out if you want. Save it, bookmark it as a reference if you guys ever want to check some things. I would recommend going to O'Shea. Is it OCPF? I forget the actual acronym, but that's the website that tells you all of the contributions that they have given. So you can just do a quick little search on that. It's super easy to do because, like I said, I don't know how often this website is updated. But yeah, that is all the Superior Court judges. As a reminder, there are also District Court judges, some of which we have seen before. And there's way more of them. There's 158. There's a lot. There's a lot. But yeah. Like I said, if you guys ever want to go through this on your own, feel free to do so. Like I said, I highly recommend it if you want to know what's actually going on. We actually don't know Karen's civil lawsuit, Massachusetts State Police versus Canton PD. We don't know who the judge is going to be on that yet. There's no judge presiding. I kind of hope that it's not Gildea. I kind of want someone else in there. Like, I really hope they don't put Judge Gildea, like they especially assign him to it. I think they need someone else. Oh, there's Jubinville District Court. Let me see. Oh, well, you know what? For shits and gigs. For those of you that look in the various filings of the Norfolk County DA's office, you see this name often because there's an ADA with this last name, Krippendorf. So Ed Krippendorf is a district judge. And I briefly looked at this while you guys were listening to the audios. And this is one that threw a lot of red flags at me. Specifically the donations. Because you got Bill Keating, Michael Morrissey, Charlie Baker, and he lives in Braintree, which is Norfolk County. Morrissey. Marty Walsh. Got that Michael Brady again. You guys are sensing a theme, right, with these judges? Greg Henning. Lots of Morrissey. Bill Gavin. Maura Healy. So he recently became a judge. His hearing was on May 15th, 2024. And Jubinville was already out of there by then. Jubinville went to be a clerk magistrate in, I forget what district. So he ended up leaving the governor's council at that point already. And it doesn't say who spoke on his behalf. Krippendorf. But this is why when you hear Adam Deitch speak and he's like, I don't think anyone should be taking money from any of their employees or anything like that. This is like one of those things where it's like Krippendorf, it's like the family of. So Krippendorf, even though you have family members that work in the ADA's office who may or may not be donating to you, you now have their family members also donating to you. And that is people like sitting judges. Before their nomination, maybe after, who knows? But yeah, a sitting judge shouldn't be donating to anyone, by the way. It goes against like all of the things. All of the things. Okay. I think that's it. Let me just double check. I'll scroll to the bottom. It's funny because I recognize a lot of these names from just following other cases, small cases, big cases. But yeah. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. Like I said, this is not the entire website, but there's a lot. There's a lot. Check it out, bookmark it. It's definitely going to be a resource in the future, I'm sure, when we go further into these cases, especially for the any future appeals we may see. So remember, Karen Reed and Aidan Kearney are going to be appealing. It's going to be interesting to see what judges on that, so we can now have that piece of information to be able to look up to see what their record is like. I can't wait. I can't wait. And yes, thanks, Pat McCabe. Yes. Let me see if there's anyone else with questions. Thank you, Personalized Craft, for the floating heart. And Be Kind, thank you so much for the thumbs up. And I did star this that I wanted to point out. Deanne said earlier, former Massachusetts State Police Trooper Michael Proctor's attorney, Matthew Hamill, we know him, previously worked as a judicial law clerk for the Honorable Kathryn E. Hand. Kathryn E. Hand, we went over, she's the one that is a judge. She's now an appellate judge, and she was a reference for Judge Cannone to become a Superior Court judge. So now you have Proctor's attorney who worked for that same judge. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. All right. If you have been here from the beginning, you guys are troopers. Thank you so much. That was chock full of information. I hope you enjoyed it. I did promise you a new outro. Thank you to my friend Exhibit Allie. She's just the best and so talented. So thank you guys all for being here. Again, like I said, it doesn't go unnoticed, all the support that you give me. Please be kind to each other. There's enough going on in the world right now. We don't need a dog pile on anyone else. Please be kind. Make sure you drink your water. What do I always say, chat? Half of your body weight in ounces per day. Eat your protein. Be nice to all of the animals. If a dog walks up to you, please pet them. Please. You guys are the best. I love you so much. Thank you, E-Chase, for putting Exhibit Allie's YouTube channel there. Thank you so much. And there she is, my beautiful friend. Thank you so, so, so much. Yeah, and I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your evening. Again, thank you, Replay Crew, for sticking it out. And yeah, I hope you all enjoy yourselves. Today actually went good. This new setup I got going on is doing all the things for me. All the things. I love it. I need to adjust this though. This microphone's been kind of weird. I noticed that on replay, but you know, we'll figure it out. Anyways, I love you guys so much. XOXO. I hope you love this outro. If it doesn't play, I'm going to scream. But I love you guys. Thank you to my mods, Brandy, E-Chase. I saw Corey, Emily, Kate. I all saw you in here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And maybe you'll see me tomorrow. I got more things, friends. I got to do more things. I got to talk. Okay. I love you. I'm going to say, it is going to play. It is going to play, Allie. It's going to play. Okay. I love you guys.
They said I was a footnote, background noise, a misfit, unimportant, too loud. Funny how that turned to kismet. Me and my truth, we sit real still, no sirens, let them scream in the daylight. Truth don't need alignment. I didn't want the headline, I saw the pattern. Opening my mouth made the whole room shatter. Try to keep it measured, flashing warning signs. Every time I spoke the truth, they caught it crossing lines. I stayed out of the spotlight, studied every thread. Watched the story bend while they counted what I said. Never chased the platform, never begged the crowd. I was mapping all the quiet while they weaponized the loud. Not a drunk, but you can call me Boozey. There's a lot more here than simple beauty. It's my time, I'm showing you the